At the 5 to the end zone, a walk-off winner.
Now, here are the guys.
Yeah. Happy Monday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you on this wonderful Monday morning, rolling off a busy NFL weekend, busy local weekend, even though one season came crashing to a halt and another one is starting off on the wrong foot, with the Padres season obviously ending over the weekend and the Aztecs football team skidding to a 4-game losing streak before heading into their bye week. They're going to be preparing for Hawaii. That's 2 weeks away. So a lot of time to work on some things. And it's not all bad. I mean, there were some positives. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show. But how about this NFL weekend? The early slate of games was absolutely bonkers. It looked like a bunch of teams were going to get blown out, and some did. But then we had comebacks, that Rams-Colts game, OT. You had the Philadelphia Eagles taken all the way down to the wire into overtime against the Commanders. There were some fun finishes there. And then, of course, the Chargers continue to charger.
My God.
And I think we should start there.
How are they not 0-4?
I don't know the answer to that question, because they've earned an 0-4 record, but they're 2-2.
That is very true. The Raiders tried real hard too to give up the game. Okay, was it? I guess it was about 5 minutes left in the game. Raiders were down by 2 scores. There was a pass thrown. I can't remember who caught it. I want to say it was Adams, but he was in the end zone. I mean, it was a touchdown. The Raiders did not challenge a no touchdown call. What is Josh McDaniels doing?
Well, all scoring plays are reviewed automatically.
But it wasn't called a score. It was called down at the one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So
yeah.
It ended up being a score, but if it hadn't, I feel like we're talking about Josh McDaniels and that hot seat getting hotter.
Well, it's already getting hotter, because it's unacceptable to lose as many games with as good of a offense as they had last year. And then he's doing it all over again. I mean, if you look around that offense, there's some ballers. I mean, arguably one of, if not the best running back in the league based on potential and output. You have a talented enough quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. Certainly it worked out with the San Francisco 49ers just fine when he was there. And then you look around that offense in terms of weapons. There's enough to get the job done. So it's either defensive or situational coaching that has been hampering them, and frankly, sometimes poor play offensively. I don't think he's long for the position. There's a couple of coaches where the temperature is being turned up in a great way on the seat they're currently sitting in.
Rich, I'm curious to ask you about Brandon Staley, because once again, it popped up where situational football is just not his strong suit. And as a head coach, it's pretty damn important. I mean, we saw Nathaniel Hackett with the Broncos last year. Situational football was the reason he got laughed out of town. And when I say laughed out of town, Travis is still laughing to hide his tears.
They had to hire a guy that could count down for him so he knew how much time was left. I mean, it was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But Travis, this Chargers team, it feels like it's the same situation. There was 2 minutes and 38 seconds on the clock when Asante Samuel Jr. got that pick in the end zone for the Chargers. And so that is game over, right? Well, it's game over if you do this correctly. If you look at the sideline, Asante Samuel Jr. has a clear shot to take it all the way back, or at least get to the 50 or other 40-yard line. He could be going the whole way. Brandon Staley is there waving his hands, telling Asante Samuel Jr. to get down. So, of course, he listens. Then Brandon Staley gets bailed out once again by Justin Herbert making a magical throw on a 3rd down to really ice the game, to get a 1st down. But it's just Brandon Staley, man, trying to lose every single game he plays.
Yeah, he's brutal. He's brutal to watch. I don't think he's a very good head coach. I think he's I think he's a decent enough guy. It seems like the locker room respects him and they like him. I think that there's still a lot of fight in that team. But you have to remember, these are professionals. These are guys who are going to fight for, regardless who the coach is, they're going to fight for virtually any coach, because they're also fighting for their own jobs. And for a great potential when you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert, who can win and has, in spite of bad coaching. The turnover on downs is unacceptable. And back-to-back weeks now in their own territory with less than 4 minutes to go in each of these games, the 4th and 1 decision-making. Now, Keenan Allen, he came out on social media, was very critical of his coach's decision to go for it, backed up at their own 24-yard line in Minnesota, less than 2 minutes in that situation. They failed to convert because the run play that they elected to run was ridiculous. They had been held to under 30 yards rushing against the Minnesota Vikings defense. And so they hand it off. It just doesn't make any sense. And if I'm Keenan Allen after having a 200+ yard receiving day, of course I'm going to be pissed. Throw me the ball. I mean, if we're going to do anything, throw me the damn ball. I'm having the game of my life, a career game, and they run the ball up the gut, which they had zero success with. Now you fast forward to this week and you figure, okay, well, Brandon Staley, he surely has learned his lesson. No dice from the Chargers' own 34-yard line inside of 4 minutes left to play. They try to QB sneak it with Herbert, and they try to do their version of the Philly tush push. And it just goes nowhere. They get stuffed.
Yeah. Everything about that play was late. I mean, it was so slow to unfold. Even the push at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Herbert's going nowhere, and then they just try to just give a little shove after there was just a complete wall in front of him. It was ridiculous.
So, Rich, you'll know this better than either of us, but the tush push, the reason it works with Philadelphia so well is because of personnel. Like, it doesn't, I know it looks so easy when they do it, and it's like 2 or 3 yards every single time they do it. But the reason it works so well is because of personnel and the offensive line that they have and the quarterback that they have, the dude who can squat like 900 pounds, Jalen Hurts. It wouldn't work that way with every single team in the NFL.
Well, here's the thing. All these guys are professionals. And yes, the Philadelphia Eagles have one of the better offensive lines in the league. There's no question about that. But you're telling me that a bunch of really strong, very athletic football players in 3-point stances who have practiced that play aren't going to be able to get a yard every time. What it says to me is they just haven't practiced it enough. That's something that they installed this week. And either they didn't practice it enough this week, or because it was a new addition, they ran it once at practice. Maybe they didn't do it live because they're worried about injury or something like that. And so when you put that in a critical situation in a game, you got people second guessing. The reason why the Philadelphia Eagles do it so well, it's something that they practice all offseason long. It's something that they practice during training camp. It's something that appeared in the preseason. This is before last season. And then guess what? Oh, yeah, they ran it all season long last season, and now they're doing it again this year. So, of course, they're going to be good at it because they've been practicing it. You install something like that because your receiver barks at you on social media the week leading up to a game, and then you use it on Sunday after practicing it maybe once or twice and potentially on air and not against the defense. What do you think is going to happen? So, again, I'll go back to what I said at the start. I don't think Brandon Staley is a particularly good head coach because of all those factors. And I think Justin Herbert is the savior in LA for this football team.
He's so good.
Oh,
he
he's
is
fantastic.
so damn impressive.
He's getting paid for it.
He really is. And I mean, that injury that he sustained, it looked like broken couple fingers on his non-throwing hand. To see him just come back out and be like, I don't care about injuries. Let's go. Let's go win a football game. Like, I free Justin Herbert from this madness. I wish he wasn't a Charger so I could feel better about rooting for him. But everything that guy does, I'm like, damn, that's a good quarterback.
Right.
Wish he was a Niner.
Right. Jerry Tillery from the Raiders got ejected during the game for a late hit on Herbert. Yes, that was stupid. However, Rich, you played pro ball. You were out there on the field. If that hit was not a quarterback, does Tillery get ejected?
Not ejected, but he would definitely get the personal foul. It is one of those things where different, like, I'll give you a perfect example. If you open your door into a little Honda Civic that is from the 1990s in a parking lot, you're probably not sweating it. Mm-hmm. But if you open your door into a Bugatti or a Bentley in the parking lot, right. You may have some problems on your hand. It matters which fender you ding. And that's exactly what happened to Jerry Tillery. And by the way, everybody in the building knew what he was doing. That's number 10. That's the Chargers' whole season, their whole hope of winning that football game that you got a free shot at, and he tried to take him out. Look, at this point in the NFL, it's inexcusable. We used to laud players for big hits and for head-to-head contact and all that stuff. That's about a decade away from where the game's at now. We understand the risk. We also understand what makes all these advertisers a ton of money. So the NFL is protecting these quarterbacks with all their might. You saw it coming as soon as like the Chargers sideline gathered up. I'm like, well, he's not finishing the game.
Yeah, what's stupid about it and why I said idiot when you brought up his name, Travis, is that he knew this was going to happen. Like the second that he
right,
made that
right.
hit, he was like, oh, if I'm hitting a quarterback this far out of bounds who was slowing up, like it wasn't like Justin Herbert was diving for the first down pylon.
No,
he was clearly giving himself up
Yeah.
until Hillary made that hit.
Yeah.
It's like he should not be surprised at all if there's a fat envelope in his locker this morning also with a $50,000 fine.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I think it's ridiculous. I think he's an idiot. I think that everything you just said. I mean, Justin Herbert was clearly headed out of bounds. He was clearly laying off the throttle. I mean, you could tell. Like you said, Rich. I mean, you nailed it. If he wasn't hitting a Bugatti, he's probably not ejected. Gets a fine. Gets the call.
When I think about Travis, I always think about like Mr. Fix-It in the garage, and we do this every Monday. It feels like, but you look at the Raiders. How the hell do you fix this with Josh McDaniels? Because this is again going sideways for a team that has a tremendous amount of talent. I don't know how else to explain it, but there is something about certain coaches where as coordinators, it worked fantastically. But as soon as they put on that whistle and they get that call sheet, and they start communicating on the headset with the booth and they're in the head coach seat, it just doesn't work. And it has not worked with McDaniels now in 2 tenures as a head coach, once with Denver, now with Las Vegas. How do you fix it, Travis?
I don't know. I mean, other than you start cutting out parts. I mean, you got to trade out parts. Sometimes things just don't work. They just don't work. And Raiders have some issues. Jimmy G is fragile. I mean, there's a lot of problems there, and it's too bad. It's again, I think football's better when every team is competitive, and when you have teams that are just falling apart. Like the Raiders look pretty shaky. The Broncos obviously have serious issues. The Bears. I mean, you start naming these teams. When you start getting matchups with these teams, you go, who cares?
That poor rookie quarterback for the Raiders is going to be dreaming about Khalil Mack forever.
Oh man,
6 sacks.
Yeah,
6 sacks in one game.
Khalil Mack,
guys are lucky to get that in a full season.
He almost tied Derek Thomas's record. It was an unbelievable game. And remember,
what's wild about 6 sacks was his record. He's done that before.
Khalil Mack was traded by the Raiders to Chicago. And you remember every time Chicago had the Raiders on their list, and I think they only matched up once during his time in Chicago. It was like you spotlighted Mack because he was going to try to get his. Well, now he plays in the same division, and it's the same thing. He's going out there to try to embarrass that organization, and boy, did he.
Speaking of embarrassment, Rich, your former team, the New England Patriots, they got some issues right now. That was the biggest loss Belichick's ever taken. Is that is that accurate?
Yep.
Yeah,
that's wild. Mac Jones looked terrible yesterday. The Cowboys look like they bounced back, and another couple defensive scores. Mac Jones, a couple turnovers. Like the Patriots look like they got real problems.
Well, what's crazy about it, guys, is the Patriots did something that they rarely do. Yes, they got thumped by the Cowboys, but they beat themselves. We are not used to seeing Patriots football teams make the mistakes, the costly errors that cost them the game. But that's exactly what happened. We're used to watching them play assignment perfect football and no turnovers.
Boring football.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes it can be exciting. But a lot of times it's just executed, right? It's a well executed game plan. This was not. They looked sloppy, and as a result, we saw a big loss at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys, who needed to have a bounce back from last week, inexplicably losing to the Cardinals.
Ooh, next week we got Cowboys-Niners on Sunday night.
That's
Come
big.
on now.
Yeah. What a great setup, though, for the Cowboys to look that good again after not beating the Cardinals. Yeah, not great.
And then the other one, which previewing that as the game of the week next week is going to mean it's going to be a terrible game, because this week we were talking about the Bills-Dolphins all the way up. The Bills boat race them.
Yeah, the Bills absolutely dominated the Dolphins. There's no question about it. That was obviously one of those games where the Sean McDermott again he tried to limit the damage that Tyreek Hill could do, and now I think every team's going to do that because that's what the Patriots did. They had success. Now that's what the Bills did, and they had success.
Playing with their technique and fundamentals.
Everything we said we're not going to do, we've done. We're playing down to 11. No.
It's halftime. All right, TD, what do you got for us?
Well, gather around, folks, because it's over. The Padres season finally came to an end. The Marlins beat the Pirates on Saturday. That officially closed out the season for the Padres, but the Padres did end up winning out. They beat the White Sox in extra innings last night, finishing the season 82-80, which I'm sure now brings up the debate of, see, the season wasn't so bad. And we were just talking about that Raiders-Chargers game. SoFi Stadium looked like a Raiders home game yesterday. Over half the stadium was filled with silver and black. Charger fans not too happy about it, as we got to see yet another brawl break out in the stands. This time a Raider fan thrown down the steps during this vicious Charger fight. Everybody needs to calm down, right? You just need to calm down, like Taylor Swift would
was
say.
it a Patriots fan that died from one of these fights?
Yes.
Yeah, there was a Patriots fan beaten to death in the stands last weekend.
Now,
We got to be done with this.
no, yeah, this is ridiculous. Now, on that fight that broke out with that Patriots fan, autopsies are saying it was not a blunt force trauma that killed him. So they're saying there was some other underlying issue. However,
Like
what
having a heart attack from being attacked and being scared out of your mind.
that, or maybe you had a blood clot that was then broken free. Yeah, that. But I mean, look, it's due to these attacks. I mean, it's ridiculous. But Taylor Swift, by the way, last night spotted saying something to her A-list friend Blake Lively about Travis Kelce. She said, "Look at him." The internet's going wild. Swifties are so excited.
I'm even more convinced it's a hoax after last night.
Well, what's interesting is, I mean, the cutaways to Taylor Swift.
Oh my goodness.
Actually, Brady Quinn mentioned this on Two Pros and a Cup of Joe, or maybe it was LeVar Arrington. One of the two of them said, look, when you have a live mention on air,
It was LeVar, and I thought it was the best point I've heard.
it's worth, I mean, so much money.
Right.
You're talking about in-game. You're talking about in-game somebody getting a live mention. Now, ads, or I should say brands, would spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to be, to have the NFL contractually obligated to mention their product
Yes.
in-game. I mean, for Taylor Swift, this is free publicity. So even if this started out as a love story, even if this started out because these two really had mutual interest in each other, there's no question that at this point, Taylor Swift understands that every American man who's watching football, which obviously the demographics point mostly toward the men, have wives, have daughters, have nieces, have, and Taylor Swift obviously skews dramatically toward female audience. And they're all potentially breadwinners. Some houses it's split income, but buying these concert tickets for these nieces, these daughters, these granddaughters, these wives. This is branding. This is the biggest story now for 2 weeks in sports and pop culture.
Without a doubt, I completely agree with you, Rich. And Taylor Swift knows how to run the machine here,
Oh, yeah.
and her machine knows how to run the machine. Because did you guys notice how many Taylor Swift ads ran in the breaks? I mean, it was about the Eras Tour. There's an Eras Tour movie coming out October, whatever. I mean, they are pounding this home while it's hot. I'm growing tired of it. I don't need to see it anymore.
And Travis Kelce, Campbell's Soup, Pfizer, whatever.
He's in the State
insurance.
Farm commercials now.
He's hawking. I mean, it's just constant. You see his face. I saw his face more than I saw my children yesterday,
Right.
and that is not even close to a lie.
I mean, last night was the most nauseating it's been, and I've been nauseated by it for about a week and a half now. But every single time they go to commercial break, Mike Tirico mentioned it. And did you notice Chris Collinsworth did not say a damn word about it the entire night?
Yeah.
Like, even in the
yeah.
open, it was the first thing Mike Tirico said. He made some Taylor Swift pun, and Chris Collinsworth looked at him and then went on to football.
Well,
Yeah.
they ran a Taylor Swift Open prior to the game.
Like teaching Swifties about football.
Yeah, there was a teaching Swift about football, and then there was the Welcome to New York montage that came about with Taylor Swift. I mean, they are trying to drive it home as much as they aren't trying to drive it home.
And now other celebs are starting to jump on board, like Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Blake Lively.
Yeah,
Who
they're all
else was in
hanging
that
out.
booth?
Yeah, it's you know what it looks like. It's Lakers game.
Ugh.
It's a Lakers
Well,
game, and the stars are coming out.
Well, I'll tell you what. When you win championships, this is the trappings. I mean, I
want to talk
remember
about football.
when I was in New England, you had Bill Belichick, so he controlled that culture better than Andy Reid. But I mean, Tom Brady was married to Giselle Bundchen, and she was at every game, and there were always booth shots. And what's interesting about it is because that was such an insular culture, and Brady really drank the Patriots Kool-Aid. It was never that big of a story. But Andy Reid doesn't run that type of ship. He's more of a player-led team organization. It isn't his way or the highway. And Travis Kelce is getting to live his best life out there.
Well, Andy Reid is jumping in on the spots. He's on those insurance ads, so he's part of the fun.
He's stealing Patrick Mahomes' French fries.
Yeah. Fletch, you said you want to talk about football. I do have to mention one thing, and it's the thing that no one is mentioning. And I feel like Sheena, who's our listener here, vice president of Jack in the Box, she would agree. Deb, Maria, Queen of the North.
Carolyn Blanca.
Yeah. Taylor Swift and the bangs have to go.
Yeah, she's got
it's a little childlike, is it not?
But that's trust me when I tell you, everything is calculated.
It's the brand.
Well, part of it is the brand. It's recognizable. She's one of the only people who has that haircut in the United States because it went out of style. I'm pretty sure in the late '80s.
Well, I think it went out of style for women like in 7th grade.
But the thing about it is it's recognizable and it does skew young. So again, it's one of those things where you look at something sometimes like a brand, a product, and you automatically know based on the advertising, oh, that's for kids. That's the reason why tobacco companies got into so much trouble for branding and advertise towards children, because they know what neon colors do. Yeah. It excites the young brains. So that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to get all of these young girls running to the television screen to see Taylor Swift. And speaking of running, I want to talk to you about the Good Feet store. If you want to keep on your feet and stay running, you need the arch supports from the Good Feet store, and you will wake up the next morning with without knee pain and back pain, just like me. That's my experience. I would love for you to see what the experience is like for yourself. Get into the Good Feet store. They're going to give you the try before you buy treatment with one of their trained experts. You sit down, you spend 20 minutes with them. You walk out of there with these arch supports. And I've had minimal back pain since I started wearing these. The knees feel better. I used to have ankle pain on the right side, hip pain on the right side. That's virtually been eliminated. So I'd love for you to get into the Good Feet store and give it a shot for yourself. 30 years of experience, 200 plus locations in the U.S. and overseas. The only place to get the Good Feet solution is at the Good Feet store. Check them out today. All right, coming up next, we had a couple of rookies playing the games over the weekend. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, all taken within the top 5 picks of last year's NFL draft. It's shaking out a lot differently than you think in terms of who's playing the best and who's playing the worst. We'll get to that next.
We got to evaluate these rookie QBs, and it's the start of spooky season. So, of course, pumpkin carving contest coming up next.
This update is presented by Staples Stores. Starting off here in the NFL, Chargers took down the Raiders 24-17. Khalil Mack, 6 sacks in the game. Come on now. 49ers and Eagles both improved to 4-0 on the year with wins over the Cardinals and the Commanders. The Bills beat the Dolphins, final score 48-20. And on Sunday Night Football, the Chiefs survive a scare from the Jets. Chiefs win it 23-20. College football, Aztecs fall to 0-2 in the Mountain West after their trip to Colorado Springs, where the Air Force beat them 49-10. Bye week for the Aztecs this week, before they resume play in Hawaii on Saturday, October 14th. And in baseball, Padres season officially comes to a close. They finished with an 82-80 record and missed the playoffs. We will get plenty of news here over the next couple days about what's going on with the front office and what's going on with the coaching staff. $10 says that your local Staples now accepts Amazon returns. Now, when you return an Amazon order at Staples, you receive a coupon for $10 off your next Staples purchase of $30 or more. Exclusions do apply. Staples, your new favorite place for Amazon returns. I'll actually be doing that later today.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. Already kicking off a Monday in fine fashion.
How do you listen to our show, Travis?
I listen on the free iHeartRadio app. In fact, I listen to all the shows here on San Diego Sports 760.
You ever use a smart speaker?
Oh, I use a smart speaker all the time. I got the Google at home,
What would you say to?
I got to go, hey, Google, play San Diego Sports 760.
Yeah, I go with Alexa. So, hey, Alexa!
Yeah.
Alexa! Play San Diego Sports 760.
Is your Alexa in the next room?
No, I just like to yell at her.
Yeah, I like to scream at my Google as well. Well, Google will be right next to me. You can do the same thing with Siri if you want to listen on your iPhone. Because we also have a pair of tickets to go see Avenged Sevenfold. They're going to be playing this Saturday night at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com, or just keep listening for your chance to win. And if you're listening on that free iHeartRadio app, don't worry. We will. We know that you're behind 90 seconds or so. We know there's a delay on the stream, so we always give a time on when we're going to be giving those out. So you can take us with you wherever you go with the free iHeartRadio app. Did you see that the Powerball jackpot is now over $1 billion?
Did I? Of course I've seen it.
Are you in? You're already in?
I'm in. I've been in. I've been in since it hit like 400 mil.
What? I mean, it doesn't matter if it's $3 million or $300 million. You're buying a ticket, Fletch.
I'm Powerball pretty much every week. I at least get one. Once the numbers start getting up to where they're at right now, like $1 billion. Are you kidding me? I'm buying 10 today.
Okay. All right. Rich in studio, moving some things around here, moving cameras around. Are we going to try to carve right in front of us, or are we going to try to carve on the desk there?
Well, I think Travis is going first. So,
okay.
Yeah, whatever you like. Don't matter to me.
Okay.
Trav, you just start going at your thing.
You doing the thing?
You're
Okay.
doing the. Oh, you're gonna carve right at your station here.
Carve right at the desk here.
Oh, that's
gotta-
a brilliant idea.
Okay.
Hang on, I'm gonna move my camera.
Okay. It's fine. I got to get the tools here. I didn't really.
So-
do you guys like to draw a picture on your pumpkin?
I know what I'm doing today, and I'm kind of nervous because I'm not very artistically gifted. But before we get going on the pumpkin, I did go ahead and look up some numbers on Sunday Night Football. So we were talking about the Taylor Swift thing and the effect that she's going to have and what the live mentions would actually cost if it was a company. And I'm not convinced it isn't Taylor Swift Incorporated maybe paying for some of this. But on last season, Sunday Night Football averaged 18.7 million viewers. Now that Chiefs-Bears game last week averaged 24 million viewers because Taylor was in attendance. Sunday Night Football, which was a really good game last night, even if it wasn't great football, like Zach Wilson outplayed Patrick Mahomes, that's going to average in the 30s, probably 35, maybe 40 million people.
That's
so if we're
crazy.
talking about every single commercial break, Mike Tirico saying something about Taylor Swift, you're talking about millions of dollars in ad revenue that would have cost.
Yeah. Well, and also you start thinking about what's happened so far this early portion of the season with the Chiefs. Obviously, outside of the opener before the announcement was made, they've been now on Fox. That was on the heels of obviously having the announcement that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift were an item, and then they were on NBC last night. Guess what network they're going to be on coming up against the Vikings?
Mm.
They're going to be on CBS, and then after that, I don't know who, but I'm going to look ahead in the schedule. Here we go.
So everybody's getting a little taste.
After that, it's Thursday Night Football on Prime.
So Prime gets there. So that's 4 different networks in 4 weeks. And then the Chiefs play the Chargers. And where is that going to be? That'll be on Paramount Plus and NFL Plus.
Dude, it's crazy.
Subscription only.
It's insane. It's insane is what it is. I am so sick of it. Trailer needs to end. Trailer needs to die.
So we're carving pumpkins right now because it's the start of spooky season.
Naturally.
We just started carving pumpkins. We didn't give anybody any info as to why,
Oh,
other
and
than
you
of course.
you have to set up your phone on a
Oh.
tripod. We need to get this all on camera.
Man, I'm blowing it.
So,
Yeah.
Rich, we tease rookie quarterbacks, and CJ Stroud once again over 300 yards passing.
Yep.
Fantasy god. I love him on my team. And it's been insane to see that this Houston Texans team between CJ Stroud and Nico Collins are really taking the world by storm.
Well, so Nico Collins in his 3rd year as a pro, by the way, he was a 3rd rounder back a couple of years ago, and he really hasn't popped. And he's now paired with a competent quarterback, and look at him go. He is definitely a fantasy sleeper if you can pick him up on the waiver wire. But then you look at what CJ Stroud has done. In 3 consecutive weeks, he's gotten near or over 25 fantasy points in standard scoring leagues. But aside this fantasy football rankings, you look at what he means to that organization. It gives Houston a chance this year. It gives them positive momentum to build off of. That defense is playing inspired football. D'Amico Ryans looks better as a coach because his quarterback is playing so well. All coaches look better when their quarterback plays well. Look at Brandon Staley. He's kept his job for as long as he's had it because of Justin Herbert. If it weren't for Justin Herbert, if they were going through Tyrod Taylor and then they handed off to another bridge quarterback and they tried to draft someone and it didn't work out, he would have been ran out of town. Justin Herbert's saving his job. So when you go back to what D'Amico Ryans has in CJ Stroud, they're leaning into it, and it's brilliant. They're building an offense that he can run.
And think about who they've beaten the last 2 weeks because they start off 0-2. They were playing against the Ravens and the Colts. That Colts loss is going to be looked at as a pretty bad loss. But the Jags and the Steelers, like the Jaguars are a pretty good team with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. And then the Steelers have one of the best defenses in football. He just hung 30 on the Steelers defense.
Crazy.
Did anybody go watch I'm talking in my phone. Did anybody go watch the Disney Plus Toy
Yes.
Story?
For like 5 minutes, and that was all I could do.
That's all I did too. I mean, it was interesting to see. The problem that I found as a football fan, there's nothing happening in between the plays. They're just standing there on the field.
The kids didn't like it.
Really?
I had Ann put it on for them because they had a sleepover and I woke up early to drive up to LA. So I was like, you got to turn this on for them. And so I'm watching on my phone on the Disney Plus app at red lights and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh, they're going to hate this. I know they're going to hate this. I'm filling up the gas tank when I get to a local gas station. I'm like, oh, there's no way they're still watching this. So as soon as I pulled onto the freeway, I called Ann. I was just like, hey, I was just watching on the app on my phone. I was like, I'm sure it's they don't even have it on anymore. She was like, yeah, she was like, Sebastian like rolled over in bed and was like, I'm going back to sleep.
So you know what it was good for, which like think about what we're doing literally right now. Travis is carving a pumpkin so that we can post it on social media later. What that was really good for is the clips that they're able to put out now of Trevor Lawrence scrambling for a first down, and they go side by side with Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback in real time, and Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback in Toy Story. And I've seen ESPN putting that up like crazy since last night.
Yeah.
So those clips are cool, and they all have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views. So that's what they were going for, I think.
Well, look, I mean, if you can win in the social media space, and then obviously you can sell your social media, you're going to have a product that you're going to get behind and you're going to continue pursuing, unless it is so unfavorable in terms of how it rates on your app that it's not worth the bandwidth. It's not worth everybody's effort to animate these things, spending whatever money they have to spend to generate these things through AI. Here's the thing. We live in such a divided society in terms of options that everything is niche now. If you want to listen to a finance podcast that only talks about tax code, you can find one of those. I mean, that's a revelation that's only occurred over the last 3 years. And that's just in the audio space. That's not including what's available on television watching or movies watching. It's insane. But getting back to our original conversation about these rookie QBs, you look at Richardson, what he's been able to do, not just through the air, but on the ground as well. He's rushed for over 120 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground. He's passed for, I believe, another 4, maybe 5, only thrown 2 picks so far this season. It's looking really good. And then you look at Bryce Young, who's the first overall pick. Holy smokes.
Well, the Panthers are pretty bad around him. And I think that that's part of the issue, but also he's the only one that I look at and be like, oh, that looks like a rookie. The other two, they look a little more developed, a little more secure in their positions. They look more confident.
Wait a second. The first thing you said, go back to that. You're telling me, like, in the preseason, you would have said the worst supporting cast is in Carolina?
Yeah, maybe not. Probably Houston.
Yeah. You know, I mean, like, I'm not blaming the quarterback entirely.
We've seen talent pieces around CJ Stroud, and maybe that's him helping them out, but Dameon Pierce looks really good out of the backfield. Nico Collins, we were just talking about, was really good as a wide receiver.
They just got Miles Sanders. I know he's a little dinged up, but like, I mean, to me, Bryce Young has less excuses to be good than I mean, we don't even know who Dameon Pierce was until this season. Miles Sanders was a big free agent signing by Carolina.
Dameon Pierce was good last year, but yes, you're right. Like, Bryce Young doesn't have many excuses to look this bad, and he does look that bad, and he looks like he's scared in the pocket. He looks like he's scared when he's running. And looking scared is just a bad sign for quarterbacks.
Oh, there's no question about it. I think of Bryce Young right now as the guy who looks like a rookie. Anthony Richardson doing a really nice job, looking like he's been there before. It's rare to have that quality and to have 2 in the top 5 picks of the NFL draft.
I'll tell you, Sam Howell's my favorite, like, unknown quarterback that we've seen. That dude is a baller. Yeah. He is a gamer. He puts his, you-know-what on the line pretty much every week.
This is his second year with the Commanders.
But unknown product. I mean, like, someone that's newer.
Yeah. There's no question. He's been incredible. I want to talk to you about my friends over at SD Fat Loss.
There we go. Okay. There we go.
The announcement is here.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, we've been waiting for a long time. If you've been listening to this show, and many people listening to the show have been wondering about our diet, we're finally able to talk about it. So SDFatLoss.com is where you can find out all the information and book your first appointment today. We've all done this. Okay, you meet with Doc Wayne, you meet with Chloe, who's helping us through the process. She's our fitness, or I should say dietitian coach. They have an app that you go on and you connect with them. And throughout this process, with no meal plan or no shipment of foods to your door, you don't have to worry about, specific food items. It's amazing how much weight you can lose. I am already down 30 plus pounds.
Whoa, come on.
I started this at 301 pounds. 3 weeks later, as of yesterday, I weighed in, I'm down 31 pounds.
Woo.
So it works. I mean, if you need any more testimonial than that, you'll hear from Travis a little bit later on about his journey. You'll hear from Ben. Fletch has been doing an amazing job also. Like this is one of those things where there's no gimmick here. It's just good old-fashioned research. And with a little discipline, you'll be able to lose weight too. So go to SDFatLoss.com. sdfatloss.com. Again, sdfatloss.com to find out how we did it. You'll connect with an expert, Dr. Wayne. He'll meet with you and he will bring you through the whole process. sdfatloss.com. Okay. Travis has finished his pumpkin for spooky season. We have our work cut out for us.
Why are you good at everything?
I've carved a lot of pumpkins.
You did that in virtually
10 minutes.
I mean, less. I mean, you did that that is the best pumpkin I've ever seen. We're not even going to carve our friggin' pumpkins. We're done. We're done here.
Might as well torch him with the flamethrower now.
Why did he go first? We
I
knew
don't
this
know.
was going to happen.
The loser, one gets tossed off the roof, the other gets flamethrowed.
That's correct. I brought the flamethrower. Actually, we have dual flamethrowers today. We might be able to do both.
But it has to be voted on. Are we going to let the listeners weigh in as well as the office? Who's going to vote on this?
I think that's smart.
Okay.
I think that's smart. We could post a picture of that, and we should immediately and get it up on Twitter, on X.
Like, why are you just good at things?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I'm
random
not good at
things.
anything really important. That's the problem.
Travis.
Yeah.
Travis is.
Look at the detail on the mouth.
I know. This is just. I don't even know what to say. All right, we're screwed, Ben. That's what that's all I can say about this. Okay. Coming up, you know what? Coming up next, I'm going to throw my pumpkin off the roof.
I hate Travis.
Yeah. Coming up next, we talk about how much we hate Travis. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Jesus. All right, let me take a picture of you.
Travis is really good at carving pumpkins. We get mad at him. Coming up next.
Hey, we have Avenged Sevenfold tickets coming up. That's right. This Saturday night, they're going to be at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com, or just keep listening for your chance to win. And while you're listening, might as well download the free iHeartRadio app. If you're listening some other way, give it a try. I've mentioned this before. I start my mornings this way. I'll listen to it all throughout the morning ritual, right? You know, hop in the shower. I got it playing on the phone speaker. In the kitchen, I can use my Alexa. And then when I get in the car, it connects automatically, seamlessly to the Bluetooth. You continue listening all the way through your morning as well. Okay, so NFL had a busy weekend, so obviously we're concentrating a great deal on the NFL this morning.
Stupid Travis is just too good at carving pumpkins.
Yeah, but it's the start of spooky season, so we started spooky season with pumpkin carving, and I have no idea, like, why did we let him go first?
I would say that's not my best pumpkin.
Yeah, of course it isn't. He was just ready to go first. I think that's why he went first.
I'm ready to go
He
for
was
pumpkin
so
carving
excited.
at any time. I love this time of year.
I do too.
Like, you
I
had
can't.
me Googling designs that are easy to do that I could do quickly during the commercial break, because now I feel like I got to step up my game.
You just got to look at the pumpkin and decide what the pumpkin is feeling.
By the
Like,
way,
what's the face?
the picture is up at Big Rich TD Fletch on X.com or Twitter if you want to go check it out.
I'm very nervous now. I think
You're really Googling faces.
I'm looking up pumpkin faces as I speak, and we're going to
do you ever do the shave pumpkin?
I've never done it yet. Have you ever done that?
Yeah. Hang on, let me see if
He's gonna pull up a
hit-
picture of his past pumpkin carving experience.
Of course I have.
He has a photo album.
Yeah.
I just saw him. He opened a pumpkin carving photo album. What the hell is going on?
What's the problem with that?
You are the Rain
What's the
Man
problem
of
with that?
pumpkin carving.
Look, here's
Gotta carve the pumpkin.
here's one I did of
Dude, we need
just the old man face.
He went to his Instagram.
Here's a mustachio.
Jesus, that looks like Dr. Robotnik from Sonic.
Yes.
Dude, I could.
Yeah. I did a little demon with some tusks.
I want to punch you. This is, dude.
We didn't know that we were bringing a sleeper into this. Travis, why don't you just carve all three?
So those Avenged Sevenfold tickets. Yeah, actually carve the rest of them. You know what? That you're doing the show from over there. You get to that table and you start carving pumpkins. I'm too tired, Grandpa. Well, that's too damn bad.
Underrated movie.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah.
The Padres season is over.
It is.
The Padres season finally mercifully came to an end as the Marlins took down the Pirates over the weekend. And then the Padres, look, I mean, they finished the season strong, 20-7 through the months of September. That's the hottest finish of any other team in the regular season. And so they're rewarded by a record that's north of 500.
Wow.
Okay.
They did it.
No, what? No,
They did it.
no
82
clapping.
and
They did it.
80.
No
Yeah.
clapping.
No,
The season is saved.
cause for celebration. When's the parade?
Unfortunately, I think that may save AJ Preller's job, which whatever.
Whoa.
That's
Well,
not 2 winning
hold on.
seasons over his entire tenure. I don't understand what it is. The cage match is happening probably right now.
Yeah. They said early this week.
Well,
There's
it's
going
at
to be
24 hours from the final game.
They're just
gonna
going to
be
start
on-
a fist fight.
Well, an all hands on deck. We imagined it a cage fight between Bob Melvin and AJ Preller.
Yeah, Kevin shot that down a little bit,
He
but
said that was
there's a
weird.
meeting.
Weird.
I think Bob wins that one. But then again, AJ Preller's in good shape, plays a lot of basketball. The point is, you look at the Padres, and even though this is quote unquote a winning season, it is a train wreck of a season. You have a team that's finished, in positive marks in most of the analytics in pitching and in hitting. I mean, for example, they're plus 98 run differential. It seems impossible to be an 82 and 80 baseball team with just that stat alone. It gets worse. They have a top 2 ERA, I believe, if not the first overall in terms of team ERA. And then they've given up only the second least number of runs by an entire pitching staff. And that's ranked amongst all of Major League Baseball, all 30 teams.
So all those analytics you were just talking about, Rich, that should be good if you plug it into MLB.com's algorithm for a 92-win season.
So check this out.
It's a plus 104 run differential on the year.
Because I was
Because
looking at it 2 days ago. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's increased. Here's the problem. The problem is for anybody out there who's only trusting analytics or believes that the book's always right in blackjack. Guess what? A lot of people have lost thousands and thousands of dollars at the casinos in Vegas playing by the book. Now, I'm not saying go out there and go willy-nilly and, hit on a 12 against a soft 16 or whatever the rules are, right? But here's the reality of the situation. Sometimes it needs to be feel. Sometimes it needs to be by the numbers. AJ Preller built this team by the numbers, and they do not play like a team. And so you have all the numbers on your side you want. You're not going to win championships that way.
Yeah, you're right, Rich. And here's the other problem is the final record being 82-80 does not tell the story of what this season looked like. So 82-80 is absolutely C grade average. That is not how they played.
It was an F.
It was an F.
That's what this season was.
A failed season.
And then they get an A+ when they're beating up on bad teams who don't have anything to play for at the end of the year.
Right.
That's the reality of this team.
What's crazy is it came down to the last 2 games of the season.
So the 3 teams that did make it in the wild card, the Philadelphia Phillies, who kind of had a lock on that for the last week or so, the Miami Marlins, who needed to win over the weekend to get in, that also eliminated the Padres, and the Arizona Diamondbacks, 84-78. So they finish up 2 wins below what they would have needed.
If you want Avenged 7-fold tickets, we're going to have those for you directly on the other side. This is Big Rich, TD, and Fletch on a Monday.
Yeah, and it's hour 2 on Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update presented by DraftKings. We will begin here in the NFL, where the Chargers beat the Raiders 24-17. Khalil Mack, 6 sacks in the game. 49ers and Eagles both improved to 4-0 on the year with wins over the Cardinals and the Commanders. Bills beat the Dolphins, final score 48-20. And on Sunday Night Football, the Chiefs survive a scare from the Jets, much to Taylor Swift's happiness. Chiefs win 23-20. College football, Aztecs fall to 0-2 in the Mountain West after the trip to Colorado Springs ends with Air Force beating them 49-10. Bye week for the Aztecs this week before they resume play in Hawaii on Saturday, October 14th. And in baseball, Padres season officially comes to a close. Mercifully, they finish with an 82-80 record. They do miss the playoffs, and we will get plenty of news this week about what's happening in the front office and what's happening with the coaching staff. Download the DraftKings app and use code XXX to get a free shot at millions of dollars up for grabs this week with your first deposit. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Start off easy. Start with the obvious.
This is Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
Those goofy bastards are just about the best thing I've got going in this crazy world.
Makes you proud to be an American.
On San Diego Sports 760. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. Well, the Scarlet and Black take one on the chin out in Colorado Springs.
3-step drop. There they are again with a pass. Wide open catch. 30, 20, 10. Touchdown, Air Force.
Plus, the season comes to an end.
They struck him out. The Padres win. With the victory, will finish over 500 at 82-80.
And another wild NFL Sunday.
This to win the game for the Eagles. Snap, Scott down, kick on the way. Plenty of distance. It is gone. Jones with a deep drop, now flushed out of the pocket. Plants his feet, steps up, throws, picked off by Bland, and he's going to make a house call. Stafford ready, calls for the snap. Here comes the rush. He throws right side, alone. Hits Puka at the 5, to the end zone. A walk-off winner.
Now, here are the guys.
Yeah, good morning and happy Monday to all those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you. And it is spooky season. It's officially begun. Yesterday was October 1st. We are headlong toward the Halloween holidays. So we're carving pumpkins today. Travis Dale led us off this morning. And TD, among his other talents, he can fix cars. He can put together stonescapes. He built his own backyard when he moved into his new home.
I hate him.
Late last year. He also just gave a master class on carving pumpkins. He did it in about 8 minutes. We were barely paying attention. Then he picked it up and goes, "Hey, do you think this is all right?" It is a perfectly carved pumpkin.
You know, you hit something on the head there, Rich, and it's, I think, what I dislike most about Travis. It's the fact that he does these things that are really impressive, and then he's just like, "Yeah, no, I dabble in pumpkin carving. I'm okay." He fixes a car. He's like, "Yeah, I just know how to tear things apart and put them back together. I started with alarm clocks."
Well, that's all you do. Just take it apart, put it back together. Now, look, I have 3 kids. I've had to carve a lot of pumpkins.
Well, there's no doubt about that. This is good practice for me because with an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, I'm pretty sure I'm averaging at this point carving 6 pumpkins a year.
Okay, please don't give your children knives.
Hold on.
I've seen them run around and try to kill each other anyways.
Whose pumpkin has the knife sticking out of the top of it?
That'd be mine.
Is that your carving utensil?
It is.
Yeah, I'm going to beat you in this. I'm just going to let you know.
Yeah.
Can I use your carving utensil?
Sure, yeah, go for it. Yeah. That's the non-serrated large knife.
No, it's serrated.
Okay. All right.
Did you scoop out the pumpkin guts, or do you have to do that as well?
Yeah, and I realized quickly how out of shape I was last night while scooping because I started like really sweating and really breathing heavy. And Kendall actually took over for me.
I can scoop out the innards in about 3 minutes.
Shocker.
Yeah.
What else can you do?
Yeah. Tell us more about yourself.
Also, I have a paddle that I'll put on my drill. And you can just, and if you want to do that, however, the pumpkin better have a thick wall because it beats it up real quick.
I did that one year and ruined 2 pumpkins, and I'm trying to convince Ann, like, no, let me do one more. She's like, absolutely not. And so I'm pretty sure she threw that drill bit away.
Yeah.
Pumpkin carving is what we're doing today. The winner is going to be prominently displayed in studio until I guess it rots. The two
Like
losers
2 days.
are going to be hit with a flamethrower, and one's going to be thrown off the roof. So that'll be mine and Ben's. And that's coming up after the show today. We'll put it all on social media. Big Rich TD Fletch on X, on Instagram, on TikTok. Busy NFL weekend. Also busy weekend for the Aztecs and the Padres. We just briefly brushed on the Padres. We'll get to the Aztecs in a little bit. And by the way, Avenged Sevenfold tickets going to be available to call in for in 5 minutes. Don't call now. We're going to give you an opportunity to see them this weekend at the amphitheater down there in Chula Vista in just 5 minutes. So wait for your chance to call there. But Rams almost suffered a comeback victory at the hands of the Colts, or I should say loss at the hands of the Colts. They sustain and they win in overtime. How about Puka Nacua? Holy smokes. Dude, this guy catches everything that's thrown to him, and they are still waiting on Cooper Kupp to come back, and they improved to 2-2 on the year.
Yeah, and look, this is gonna be quite the duo out there. That's a surprise duo, at least a surprise to me. I wasn't expecting to see this, and I mean it's cool. I don't know if Stafford has got it. I mean, Stafford, who started out much hotter, seems to be cooling off here. So, I mean, unless Cooper Kupp resurrects or gives him that shot in the arm, Rams, I think, are still going to struggle.
So the Rams are about to, when Cooper Kupp returns, if he does return, we still don't really know the severity of what he's dealing with. It's his hammy, right?
It's his hamstring.
It's just been a big time issue. There was rumors earlier in the offseason about nerve damage. Like, it could potentially be bad for Cooper Kupp. We don't know the extent of it. But Puka Nacua, like, Travis, you said you didn't see it coming. Neither did anyone else. He was a 5th-round draft pick for the Rams.
Well, so check this out. Puka Nacua is currently outpacing the 2 best receiving yard seasons in NFL history through 4 games. Calvin Johnson, Megatron, okay? In 2012, at this point in his season, had 423 yards. Cooper Kupp in 2021, that's when he burst on the scene with Matthew Stafford, 431 yards. Puka Nacua, through these first 4 games, has 501 receiving yards. So not only outpacing them, but with a cushion. Puka Nacua has caught so many passes that he's breaking records. Puka Nacua hadn't had a touchdown reception until this game in Indy, and it was the game winner in overtime. It's like a dream season. This is ridiculous, and nobody saw it coming. You couldn't predict this. But Matthew Stafford, this is what I'll say about Matthew Stafford. I think he's 37, but he feels like he is 97.
Yeah, that is very true.
So you also just said something without even knowing you said it, I think. Calvin Johnson, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. Matthew Stafford is responsible for all 3 of those.
He's elite. I was going to tie those loose ends together. Matthew Stafford is elite. The guy, he finds you. Not only does he find you, he puts it on the correct shoulder. He can make every throw in the playbook. If you give Matthew Stafford time like they did 2 years ago, you're going to win a Super Bowl with him. You're going to, well, look, you need a lot to win a Super Bowl. You need a great defense. You need great luck with health in situations like that. The reason why I say he looks like he's 97 is he's got another injury. He's got a hip thing now. I mean, it's like he's fallen and he can't get up. He's the Life Alert ad. It's unbelievable how often this guy ends up on the injury report, but he still is an incredible thrower of the football.
Yeah, but the problem is the Rams were up 23-0. And then they give up 23 to tie it. Stafford can't make it happen here until overtime. And all of a sudden, we're back. But that second half for the Rams was a little stale.
It was, and I wonder how much longer Matthew Stafford's going to keep going at this. Like you mentioned his age, Rich. It's not like he's a young chicken anymore. And he, unlike Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, who both got beat up in their own rights, Matthew Stafford has been tortured behind a Detroit Lions offensive line that did not protect him for years and years. And now he comes to the Rams, and for a while he had good protection. This year he doesn't. Last year he didn't. And so he's getting beat up once again.
Better this year, though.
Better this year than last year. It
Better
was a
this
really
year.
young offensive line last year, and the offseason helped them out a lot. But it's still not going to be the protection that he had the Super Bowl year, where he had Andrew Whitworth and a couple of other guys on that offensive line who were just aged veterans who were really good at what they did.
Yeah. Next week they take on the Eagles. So
good luck.
That's a test there.
Although, dude, the Eagles, I know it's a test, but the Eagles are still playing C+ football.
Correct. Yep. I completely agree. And it's it's a test in the fact that the Eagles find a way to win.
Yep.
But they're not winning handily.
No.
So, I mean, the Rams are a decent team. The Rams look legit.
It's been an hour and 11 minutes, and we haven't mentioned the 49ers once. I mean, CMC is rushing up the MVP.
You know,
ballot,
I think Travis made a great segue to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles Commanders game that finished in overtime. Another exciting overtime finish. You know, you look at the Commanders and you say, Sam Howell, there's no chance that he's going to go toe-to-toe in Philadelphia with the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts and that defense and have any sort of success. But my goodness, dude's got onions. That drive to push the game into overtime at the end of regulation was amazing. I mean, I'm becoming a believer in this Ron Rivera coached Commanders team. Eric Bieniemy dialing up some plays. Although I will say this, on both of their fourth down conversion attempts, one worked, one didn't. They used the same play. So Logan Thomas comes, kind of moseying in from motion, sets up in front of, shotgun formation, takes a direct snap from the center, and then they get the conversion. Sam Howell kind of helps. He gives a little bit of a tush push, and they get past the first down marker.
It works in Madden.
But, dude, then they did it again.
It works in Madden.
They did it again.
And NFL Blitz.
They
play all the time.
They changed nothing. They changed nothing. It was bizarre.
With Sam Howell, he is fun to watch because I think he's the type of quarterback, if I was physically gifted enough, I would want to play for. Yeah. Like, because he just risks it all every time. And, you cringe every time you see Josh Allen jumping over a defender, but his teammates probably love it. And so Sam Howell, I feel the same way, where it's, if you need a first down and, everything breaks down, Sam Howell's going to fight through contact to try to get there. And I think it just fires up everyone on that team. So for a fact he has the locker room.
But how about A.J. Brown? One of the smartest trades Howie Roseman ever made in his career as a general manager with the Philadelphia Eagles, getting him from the Tennessee Titans, who inexplicably traded him away. He was a huge part of that offense. They ended up having to pay Hopkins anyways. But so much to the Eagles' gain last year, he's been an incredible asset for Jalen Hurts and helps them win that football game in overtime. Okay, fine, we'll do it. Niners thump the Cardinals. Fletch, our resident Niners honk. What'd you think of your buddy Purdy? What'd you think of C-Mac and the gang?
So what does 20 of 21 mean to you guys?
20 of 21. I'm going to say that is how many. 21 is number of games that Brock started, and 20 is the number of games he's won.
No, it's a little less than that, but he's only won when he's been a starter, so got injured.
20 of 21?
20 of 21 passing yesterday
for
Brock Purdy. Wow. He was damn near perfect. 283 yards, 1 touchdown, and then Christian McCaffrey is, like I said, shooting up the odds in MVP voting right now. I mean, he's up to the 5th or 6th option in the league behind Brock Purdy, who is also sneakily climbing up those odds. But 4 touchdowns for Christian McCaffrey, breaking a bunch of records that have been long in 49ers tradition. But Brock Purdy yesterday did something that hasn't been done since Steve Young, which is that 20 of 21 completion percentage.
It's impressive. I mean, it's very impressive, Fletch. C-Mac
Here's what Travis is going to say next. I still don't know if I trust Brock Purdy.
It's odd. I don't. I still am in that camp where I'm like, something's going to break eventually.
21.
Look, I don't know. Maybe this guy is the next Tom Brady. Maybe he goes out there and he breaks all the records. And now instead of Niner fans putting Joe Montana on a pedestal as the Niners god, Brock Purdy takes his place. I don't know, but for whatever reason, I'm waiting for this to break down. Now, he's got a lot of talent around him. C-Mac makes it look easy. I mean, he makes it look easy. When he gets 4 touchdowns in a game, and I think, well, I don't know. I mean, and look, my head first goes to, is Brock Purdy using him as a crutch? No, he has so much talent. There's so many weapons on this team. The Niners should dominate through the season. I mean, the talent just looks amazing. However, they got to run into the Cowboys here next week. That Cowboys defense could cause problems. Maybe not. A Purdy, every time he gets blitzed, every time he gets hurried, makes something happen. It's been pretty magical.
Yeah, they played against TJ Watt. They played against Aaron Donald. That Giants defensive front can pose some problems and have for other quarterbacks.
And did for the Niners.
Yeah, they sailed through it though. That was a 30-12 loss for the Giants. So even the best defenses that they faced, Steelers included, that was a 30-7 thumping they put on the Steelers.
And you're getting the Cowboys probably at the right time with Diggs being out for the season with the ACL. They haven't looked as imposing as they did in week 1.
Myles Garrett is going to be the next threat on their schedule after the Cowboys and the Browns if he comes back from that foot injury. So you might also catch the Cleveland Browns at the right time. So it's going to be trouble. It's going to be trouble at some point for the 49ers, but 16 games Brock has started or appeared in. He's 15-1. So
it's incredible.
Figure that out.
It's incredible.
And by the way, the one loss, it was to a team that he had his elbow destroyed against in the Philadelphia Eagles in the first quarter of the NFC Championship game. Okay. We're gonna go to
Fletch.
We're gonna go to halftime. Yeah, he was 4 for 4. He was 100% passing.
I just want to make sure everyone knows.
He was 100%.
That has not been done. It's not been done since Jerry Rice had to throw one pass in 1988.
Joe Montana never had an NFC Championship game where he went 100% completion percentage, but Brock did.
Okay, you guys are putting these words in my mouth. I didn't say any of that. What I am saying is 20 for 21 is pretty effing good.
Factual though.
Yo, is that good?
It's really good.
I mean,
thank you, Jim Russ.
Not perfect.
Is it? Are you sure it's good?
Not perfect.
844-570-1360. If you want Avenged Sevenfold tickets, you need to call right now, 844-570-1360. We're going to play That's Bunkman on the other side of this.
Well, those Padres, man, those sneaky little Padres in the season on a high note. They end up 80-82 or 82-80 on the year, saving maybe somebody's job that probably doesn't deserve it. But we will see. Today is the cage match that was reported by Kevin Acee earlier last week, where he said within 24 hours after the final game of the season, that we will have a big meeting at Petco Park in the offices between AJ Preller, CEO Eric Grupner, Bob Melvin, and more people on Peter Seidler's equity company, whatever it is, who would be making some decisions about the future of this franchise. So where do we go from here? I don't know. Someone's losing their job today, I would think. Now in the NFL yesterday, we just talked about Brock Purdy, 20 of 21. That has not been done since Steve Young did it back in the 90s. Impressive day for him. Impressive day for the Niners, who are 4-0. The Eagles are also 4-0, the last two unbeaten teams in the NFL. And how about this? We haven't talked about it once, but Travis's Denver Broncos getting a win, even though they made Justin Fields look like the second best passer in the NFL.
Total domination.
No. All right. We're going to get a caller on the line, and it is Kevin. Kevin will join us right now for That's Bunkman for Avenged Sevenfold tickets. Again, that's going to be a Saturday concert right here at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater in San Diego. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. But for Kevin, he's just got to get through a gauntlet of true and false questions on a little game show we call That's Bunkman.
By the way, nicely done on the Aztecs broadcast, dropping a That's Bunkman reference.
I did.
Yeah,
I was going to say the same thing.
Yo, did you hear that, Kevin?
Yeah, I was listening right when he was doing that.
Yes.
It's a joy of mine to mix in a couple of things for the listeners of this very silly show on what has become at times a very silly broadcast that I do on the weekends as well. All right, Kevin jumping on. He wants Avenged Sevenfold tickets. We're going to deliver him to Providence, or I should say Chula Vista, if he just gets 3 out of 5 true false questions correct. So we're going to try our best to fool you. You either have to guess whether the story we're telling about a person's lives is true or false, and then you get the tickets. Kevin, you're ready to play?
I am ready.
Okay, there we go.
Who's going first? You jumping in?
I'll lead off.
Okay.
And it's actually perfect timing for this this story that I'm about to tell Kevin, because we're carving pumpkins in studio. But when I was on my high school football team, we got flyer notices taped to our lockers that there was a local pumpkin carving contest. I not only came in first place there, but I didn't realize you're automatically admitted at the state level, competed in a state pumpkin carving contest as a sophomore in high school, and I placed second in the state of New York. Kevin, is that story true, or is it Bunkman?
I mean, New York's a big state, Rich. I would love for it to be true because that's amazing, but I'm going to say that's bunk.
He is 100% correct.
Nicely done.
I thought the details would fool him.
Nicely done.
No, the details would fool him.
No, it's no. Here we go. So mine, Kevin, you're up 1-0, by the way. Is on a similar note here. So I've been getting a lot of flack because I came in and I could carve a pumpkin with ease. Some would say I'm a pumpkin artist. Well, actually, last year, I actually got third place at the City of Fallbrook's pumpkin carving contest. Couldn't get first, but I did get third. I did walk away with a very nice ribbon. Is that true, Kevin, or is that bunk man?
Travis, you are an everyman, a Renaissance man of our generation. Even if I don't get this right, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say that is true.
Ooh, yeah, no, that one is bunk. Yeah, no, I've never been in a pumpkin carving contest, but Kevin, I appreciate you in a big way.
All right, Kevin, I'll go next here. I placed 4 different pick'em games on Underdog Fantasy over the weekend. Rich, you want to tell everybody about the promo code with Underdog?
That's XTRA, and Underdog will double your deposit up to $100 if you sign up today.
It is incredibly fun to play Underdog, but I placed 4 different pick'em games. I hit on all 4 of them and cashed out $300 this morning. Is that true, or is that bunk man?
Man, that's tough. I mean, I know you got one of them with the 49ers. I'm going to say it's true.
Ooh. I actually didn't even get one. I got them all wrong.
You got them all wrong?
Oh,
well, you got everyone?
Everyone.
I actually, I knew that wasn't true because I know you're betting, and there's no way you would have done a pick'em and 8 times multiplier that could have earned you $300. You would not have risked that much. I know you. I will say this though. I had success on an Underdog pick'em over the weekend, and I'll pull it up later on.
I did 4 different $5 ones and missed on all.
I've been doing a lot of $5 pick'ems also. I like it better because you can spread around the wealth, and if you hit, you get 100 if you pick 5 players. Anyways, we'll get back to Underdog in a second. All right, Kevin, one Halloween, perfect timing to talk about this. We were on our way home from a Halloween party. This was probably when I was 7 or 8 years old. My parents had left a spare bag of Reese's peanut butter cups in the backseat of the car. I ate the entire bag, and I proceeded to vomit like the Exorcist movie all around the bedroom that I was sleeping in at the time with both my sister and brother. Not only threw up on the floor and on the walls, but on my siblings. Is that true, or is that bunk, man?
I think it's true.
He did it. He did it.
100%
okay,
accurate.
All right, fantastic. You're up. Is it 2-2? Okay.
Yeah, 2-1. 2. No,
2-2. Okay, 2-2. 2-2. Okay, so Kevin,
what are you talking about?
You got yeah, this one. You gotta get this one. Gotta get this one, Kevin. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Look, I'm a big fan of Pink, and I've hung out with her husband, Carrie Hart, and I will be attending her concert tomorrow night. Is that true, or is that bunk, man?
True.
Oh, Kevin, you did it, man. You pulled it out. You just won yourself a pair of tickets to go see Avenged Sevenfold happening this Saturday night at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. But you, Kevin, you will be going. Oh, you're on hold. That's fine. Hang on hold. Ben's going to get your info.
Okay, coming up next, it was a huge loss, but is it a lost season? We'll discuss on the other side. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
Is it just a loss of a game or a loss of a season? We'll talk about it next.
This update is presented by DraftKings. We will start off here in the NFL, where we had a really good Sunday. Chargers beat the Raiders 24-17. Khalil Mack, 6 sacks in the game. 49ers and Eagles both improving to 4-0 on the year with wins over the Cardinals and the Commanders. Bills took down the Dolphins, final score 48-20. And on Sunday, Night Football, Chiefs survive a scare from the Jets. Chiefs win it 23-20. College football, Aztecs fall into 0-2 in the Mountain West after their trip to Colorado Springs, where the Air Force beat them 49-10. Bye week for the Aztecs this week before they resume play in Hawaii on Saturday, October 14th. And in baseball, Padres season officially comes to a close. They finished with an 82-80 record. They do miss the playoffs, and we will get plenty of news later on this week about what's happening with the front office, what's happening with the coaching staff. Download the DraftKings app and use code XXX to get a free shot at millions of dollars up for grabs this week with your first deposit. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility and restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
It's Big Rich, TD, and Fletch at San Diego Sports 760, and you want to make sure you have the free iHeartRadio app downloaded to whatever device you own. That way you can also hit us up on the TalkBack feature. Little microphone there on the lower right-hand side. Tap that mic, and you can send us a message, a shout-out. See if we can get you on the radio station here. Meanwhile, the start of spooking season has us carving pumpkins. The winner pumpkin will be proudly displayed here for the rest of time in studio. The losers, one will get the fate of being thrown off of the roof here at iHeart San Diego, and the second will have the fate of seeing a flamethrower. Rich, next up on the carving process, and you got the pumpkin here on the counter. You are carving away.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna go for something a little bit non-traditional here. I'm not gonna show you guys what exactly this looks like, and I beg of you, do not look until the very end. You'll love it. But yeah. This is, look, my forte, I would say, when it comes to carving pumpkins is I try to be precise. And I also
could really tell with what you're doing right now. Precision is key as you slam your hand into it over and over again.
So the top of the pumpkin cut in maybe 16 different stabs. No cutting, just stab at different angles until the top comes off.
No, that's very much so a product of trial and error. So I never cut. I never cut in a circle because it's difficult to figure out which direction the thing is supposed to face.
1,000,000%. Yes.
So you cut on jagged angles and then you sort of twist the pumpkin top around. And then boom, you find it's like a
little puzzle piece.
Yeah, so I do the same thing, except instead of having all the little star shapes around the side, you just have one of them out, and it makes it even easier to slide it back in.
What are you, some sort of fancy boy?
Now, see, what I like to do is think, okay, what's the style of my pumpkin going to be, and then match the top cut with the style of the pumpkin, or I cut out the bottom of the pumpkin and carve out the bottom of the pumpkin, and then you can just set the candle on the ground and set the pumpkin over it.
Let's get into the Aztecs review this week, brought to you by San Diego County Toyota dealers. If you're looking for a great deal on a new Toyota, make sure you visit Toyota.com. There you can check out all the latest offers and search inventory. They make it easy. The Aztecs, unfortunately, did not this weekend make it very easy on themselves.
Yeah, what's wild, I think I've been covering the Aztecs football team for 6.5 years now. This will be my 6th full season of Aztecs football. And I think this may have been not the worst loss in terms of who they're playing against, but the worst they've been like beat down by a team. And the Air Force did that to them. And I think the Air Force did that in a couple different ways. And where you tip your cap to the Air Force is that they definitely surprised the Aztecs players. They definitely surprised the Aztecs coaches by going to the passing game as much as they did. Because if you look at that first quarter, Air Force was very much in their normal triple option offense and just running into a wall of Aztecs defenders, and it led to nothing for the Air Force in the first quarter of play. And then in the second quarter, they started going to the air. And I think they looked back on some film from UCLA and from Oregon State and realized that the Aztecs can get beat on some long passes if you have the stones to throw it. Credit to them, they had the stones, and they threw for like 180 yards, which has to be some sort of Air Force record.
Well, it looked to me like the Aztecs were doing their best to slow this game down. They wanted to have long drives. They wanted to eat time off the clock. And, I mean, honestly, you keep Air Force off the field, they're not scoring points. That seemed to be the game plan going in. And in the beginning, there was a couple drives that were that. I mean, what was it in the second quarter? Aztecs go 17 plays. I think it took off about 9 minutes off the clock.
Second quarter. It started in the first quarter and made its way into the second quarter.
Right.
It was like almost a 10-minute drive, 17 plays, 80 yards. They get the touchdown. That was how the game was supposed to go.
Correct. But then Air Force could score so quickly, and Aztecs got behind. They have to change that game plan because now the Aztecs time's against them.
Yep.
So these long drives are no longer sustainable. You can't do them. You got to get on the board quick. And this young Aztecs team just didn't look like they were ready for that.
Yeah, this bye week is coming at a great time for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with both of your assessments. You know, Travis, you said it. The game plan was just milk the clock, keep the ball away. The best defense sometimes is a great offense and a time possession offense against a team that wants to run the air out of the football. But you got to give credit where credit's due. Air Force came in with a great strategy. They knew that they were going to surprise this Aztecs team with the pass. They clearly changed a couple things up in terms of what passes they wanted to get to, and they unveiled some of their playbook that we haven't seen in prior weeks. I watched the film, and some of those pass concepts hadn't come up yet in their 4-0 start. They now improved to 5-0. The Aztecs, unfortunately, dropped to 2-4 in the season following this 4-game losing streak. A lot to work on. The bye week, like you said, Fletch, comes at the perfect time because you're about to go on the road to Hawaii. Look, Hawaii, are they the best team in the Mountain West? No. Is it difficult to beat the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors at home in Hawaii? Yeah, it can prove to be a challenge. So you get 2 weeks to stare at the film, do a lot of soul searching and self-scouting, and fix some of the problems that emerged against the Air Force Academy.
And I talked to Brady during postgame, and I just kind of asked him what the bye week's going to look like, especially after a game like this, where I know, Rich, you were on that flight home. That could not have been a very boisterous flight home. In fact, I would assume it was a lot of people very quiet with headphones in. But when you get into the bye week now, what is it time to work on? Well, for some people, Jalen Maiden, Mark Redmond, some of these defensive players, like they've been playing every single snap of this season so far. It's time for them to get healthy. And that's a really good time for this break here for a week and a half, 2 weeks, for them to kind of get some rest and get their body ready to go for the second half. And then for the young guys who did get some play against Air Force, it's time for them to get better, because clearly what's happened so far in the first 5 weeks of the season, 6 weeks of the season, hasn't been working as well as it needs to work. So these young guys are going to need to play in the second half of the year. So this is their time for them to get a lot better during this bye week, watch a lot of film, and be ready to contribute in a meaningful way, because they're going to need them.
Look, bye weeks following big losses like that are some of the worst. And I can tell you this from experience, because I've gone through this many times. You have the unfortunate reality of a bye week. You're going to have a physical couple of days of practice mixed in there. But then when you have a couple of disappointing games where, you don't blame it fully on the players. You absolutely don't blame it fully on the players. You get out coached in losses as well. And so the coaches have a lot that they want to look at too. And so as a result, this is going to be a physical couple of weeks for the Aztecs. Now, are they up to the challenge? Is it going to improve things? Well, that remains to be seen. We'll see what they look like on the other side against Hawaii. A great test for them again. Like you said, younger football team, Fletch, they gotta fix it fast, because you still have, what are they at now? They have 12-game regular season here. You still have 6 games left. The home stretch of the season, so you have a lion's share of your conference games coming up. You cannot go into the tank here.
And Air Force is a really good team, and Boise State's a really good team. In fact, I would say they're probably the 2 best teams in the Mountain West. Maybe a Fresno State sneaks in there. So what does that mean you have in front of you? Well, you have the opportunity to prove you're the 3rd or 4th best team in the Mountain West. Yeah. And you need to go out and beat the rest of them.
Nothing's over at 2 losses, by the way. If 3 losses, I don't think there's ever been a Mountain West Conference champion or even a contender for the championship with 3 losses. So, but nothing is decided at all with 2 losses. So we'll see if they can bounce back from here. Okay, again, this Aztecs review is brought to you by San Diego County Toyota dealers. If you're looking for a great deal on a new Toyota, make sure you visit Toyota.com. You can check out all the latest offers and check out the inventory as well. Toyota makes it easy.
So what do we got going on here, Richie? I'm seeing some letters.
So yeah.
I also don't think you were recording because your phone went quiet. So I went over there and clicked.
Oh, yeah. I saw you doing that. Thank you for fixing that little problem.
I'm noticing a lot of small cuts here.
Yeah. We really went non-traditional with this.
You look like Dexter with that knife.
Yeah. This has been a huge effort, but I think we're going to finish here within this segment, because I'm finishing up on the final letter as we speak.
It's good. So far, we're doing well with this, then keeping these within one segment.
So if you don't know, Rich is carving a pumpkin right now because it's October 2nd. Yeah. And that means spooky season is here. SZN, by the way.
Do you guys have costumes picked out?
I do. I know exactly what I'm going to be.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
We already went to
Brock the dog tried on his costume yesterday.
Brock the dog.
What's Brock the dog? What's he going to be?
He's the Crack Shack chicken.
Oh,
brilliant.
That's awesome.
He hates
awesome.
the costume
so
much.
Of course he does.
I hate the costume
he does.
so much.
Okay. My pumpkin is finished, and I'm going to show the camera for anybody who's watching the stream. Ben, I'll show you because I don't think you've seen it yet. It says "F.U. Travis."
Yes.
It says "F.U. Travis." So I knew that based on Travis's pumpkin carving skill, we weren't going to win this contest. So I just wanted to take a low shot at him on the way out. So F.U. Travis.
That's the most beautiful pumpkin I've ever seen.
For rigging this GD competition.
You came up with the competition.
I can't believe I did. And I didn't think of what could happen. You know what? I just need something that's going to brighten up my day. I want to talk to you about my favorite fantasy app, Underdog Fantasy. Sign up now, promo code XTRA. Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. I promised it before, but my phone is over there. I hit on a 4-player pick'em over the weekend. $5 turned into $80 real quick. Unbelievable opportunity to make a ton of money playing fantasy football. Sound good? Sound good to me. Completely legal in the state of California. So download the Underdog Fantasy app today. It is what I love to do on primetime football. Every Thursday night, every Sunday night, every Monday night of the NFL season, I sit down, I open up the Underdog Fantasy app probably an hour before kickoff. I dial in what my pick'em's going to be, and you just pick higher or lower on whatever you think the player of your choosing is going to do statistically. You must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit ncpgambling.org. Okay, we've got our second pumpkin carved, officially launching spooky season here. It's a spooky season in the NBA. We haven't talked any NBA for about a month, maybe longer. Well, there was a blockbuster over the weekend. We'll get to that next.
I broke the chair. It's over with.
Again?
It's over with. I didn't break the chair before. It was already broken, but now I've really
we have another
broken
chair over here. Hang on. Yeah,
It's
in
fine.
studio,
It's fine right
Travis
now. I
just
sit
leaned on the
sideways.
chair and it just went bang. So We're going to switch out chairs real quick.
Man, you thought with this whole SDFatLoss.com that we wouldn't
Stop
be breaking chairs.
Right? Yeah, no kidding. No, it's good. I'll get it at the break. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, all right. Let me throw this chair out here. Oh my God! Oh, no! Son of a! Oh. There's sound dampening material. Okay, I can't get out.
And by the way, if you're listening on the free iHeartRadio app, we appreciate you.
Alexa,
play San Diego Sports 760. Actually, that does work. I do that with my Alexa device in the morning. And the only problem with that, and I'm going to warn our listeners, is never tell Alexa to play a sports talk station until you know where your children set the volume at the night before.
Yes.
Because there have been several times where it pops up and it shows me the screen. It's like to give a mouse a cookie, like they're watching episodes of that. All of a sudden I know, that's going to be on 99 volume. And then sure enough, all of a sudden you hear like Brady Quinn or LeVar Arrington on Two Pros and a Cup of Joe, like, yeah, so Brock Purdy looked pretty good. It's brutal.
Right.
Anyways, pumpkin carving so far 2 for 2 in terms of really great pumpkins.
Yeah, I mean, mine has been trumped. You win.
What? I don't think that's true at all. So Travis has this gorgeous pumpkin that he carved. I saw there were like holes punched in the pumpkin that you were following. It was almost like connect the dots as you were going through.
Me?
Wasn't there? Or maybe I just saw a couple of them.
Oh, I'm gonna do that.
I just
smart. Yeah.
No, I don't do that because I don't like the way it leaves divots around when you carve. I want it to be a very smooth carve.
This was freehand and it was done. I mean, it's a majestic pumpkin. So mine just says "F you, Travis." That's the pumpkin. Mine's getting thrown off a roof or hit with a flamethrower. We'll decide after the show.
I got my design set to go. I'm not an art guy. Never have been. Never will be. But I got high hopes for this.
Okay. I like that. I like that you have confidence.
I'm going to get creative with the pieces that get taken off the pumpkin when I carve.
However, I will say this. Ben, he's got a lot of confidence and also a lot of quit in him.
We got a message. We got a message from.
There are times where, like, Ben's like, "Dude, I'm gonna be so good at this," and then we get to the day, and he's like, as it turns out, it was not prepared or ready in the late.
8 hot dogs is too many hot dogs.
Well, also, Hardwood and Balls Classic, a little rough. I did get a message from J. Riff yesterday, who said, "Hey, I ran into your son at the safari park," and I was like, "Oh, no way." Was he talking crap about Ben? And he said, yeah, he said he sucks at basketball.
Jesus. Dude, Caleb is maybe my least favorite person
on the planet Earth.
Yeah. It's like father like son. I can't stand Travis, can't stand Caleb.
Caleb Dale, CD, man.
I want to hang out with Sarah and Haley forever.
Yeah.
You should adopt Griffin and get rid of Caleb.
And Tyler,
don't forget. Possibility.
Tyler, I feel like
I haven't met Tyler. The jury's still out on him.
We don't even know if he's real.
If he's anything like Caleb, I'm going to kick him square in the butt.
He is not. Caleb, actually, Caleb reminds me of you. Very confident. Talks a lot of smack.
Yeah.
He looks like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. This is also true. And won't get a haircut. Caleb, if you're listening, go get a haircut.
Cut your damn hair, son.
Yes, exactly.
The Boston Celtics acquired point guard Drew Holiday from the Portland Trailblazers for the low cost of everything. They I believe it was 2 first rounders, 1 protected, 1 unprotected. There were players in the swap. I mean, they gave up a lot.
So when I saw the Damian Lillard trade over to the Bucks, I was like, oh, that makes sense. You're going to have to give up a lot to get Damian Lillard, one of the best players in the league. Now, don't get me wrong. Drew Holiday is really good basketball player. I don't have him on the same tier as Damian Lillard.
No.
Not even close.
No, but this is what it costs to try to assemble a super team. Desperation creates deadlines for certain teams. And the Celtics, after an extremely disappointing finish last year, that left Celtics fans and frankly the Celtics head coach despondent after the season. It really is time to make some changes. And so Drew Holiday, capable player, there's no question about it. He goes in trade to the Celtics, maybe improve Boston. They made some other moves this offseason. We'll see how it works out on the other side. The crazy thing about this offseason in the NBA, because of how bonkers of a start it's been for the NFL, not only just the start of the NFL season, like always, people are really itching for their football fix, but also the Taylor Swift storylines. This was an enormous couple of days in the NBA, and it just got swept under the rug. I mean, I had 2 national shows. We didn't talk about it on either of them this weekend.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a complete afterthought. The NFL is a monster.
When the NFL is king, it really there's no jacks, there's no queens, there's no jokers, there's no aces. It's an NFL.
That's it. That is it.
Guys, you heard Rich talk about this in the first hour, and I think we just are really grateful to be able to welcome our newest friends onto the show, and that's Dr. Wayne and Chloe from SDFatLoss.com. Can we give a round of applause, Dr. Wayne and Chloe?
Yeah.
This show collectively, I think we're up damn near 70 pounds lost.
I'm at 32 down. Travis, what are you at?
21.
21 down.
I'm
so that's
around
what?
24, 25.
53. You're at 25?
24, 25.
Wow. Okay. So 53 plus 24. I'm not a math guy. That's like 77 pounds.
I mean, that's incredible what we've done so far. And it's all in thanks to the folks over at SDFatLoss.com. Seriously, we were all trying the different fad diets on our own. You remember Next Level Fit Guy Tuesdays. It felt like a ton of work with limited results. And now with SD Fat Loss, we are dropping weight on a daily basis, up to 1 pound of fat every single day, sometimes even more. No exercise, no counting points or calories, no prepackaged meals, no hormones, no drugs, no injections. You schedule your free consultation by calling 858-665-3211 or online at sdfatloss.com. These guys know this. Listeners know this. This summer was a rough one for me because after a Mexico vacation, I jumped on the scale and I saw 278 pop up on the screen. That's the heaviest I've ever been. It was the worst I've ever felt. And I'm proud to say that just over 3 weeks in with SDFatLoss.com, I am comfortably in the 240s. I'm feeling great. And most importantly, I'm still losing weight. If you're like me and you tried every diet out there, but you were unable to get rid of the weight, then get on over to SDFatLoss.com or give Chloe and Dr. Wayne a call at 858-665-3211. Get your free consultation and start dropping those pounds.
Okay, coming up next, he's had a rough start to the season. Now his favorite target is attacking him. Also, the Padres, huge dysfunction. What's going to be the outcome of this come to Jesus meeting for the Padres staff? We'll give you our thoughts on the other side. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
Hour number 3, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. This update presented by DraftKings. We will start here with the San Diego State Aztecs, who do fall on the road. They're 0-2 now in Mountain West play after their trip to Colorado Springs, where they lose 49-10 to the Air Force. Bye week for the Aztecs this week before they resume play in Hawaii on Saturday, October 14th. In the NFL, Chargers beat the Raiders 24-17. Khalil Mack was a monster in the game, 6 sacks overall. 49ers and Eagles both improved to 4-0 on the year with wins over the Cardinals and Commanders. Bills took down the Dolphins, final score 48-20. And on Sunday Night Football, the Chiefs survive a scare from the Jets. Chiefs win it 23-20. Over in baseball, the regular season is over. The Padres season is over as they miss out on the postseason. They finish with an 82-80 record, and we will get some news this week about the front office, about the coaching staff, who's staying, who's going. Download the DraftKings app and use code XXX to get a free shot at millions of dollars up for grabs this week with your first deposit. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility and restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Yeah! Woo! Happy Monday to those who celebrate. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch with you this morning, as we are every single weekday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. Pacific Coast time. Wherever you're listening to us, wherever in the country you are, you can listen on the free iHeartRadio app, and we suggest that you could take us everywhere, as we all do. We all obviously use the app to listen to podcasts, listen to our station here, many others around the country. Just check it out. Free to download, free to use. And we've tipped our hand in a couple of ways. We've been talking about the start of spooky season all week last week, and we had a big little party, or I should say a big party here with pumpkins. Now we have 2 carved pumpkins. Travis is gone. I have gone. Mine is going to be a sacrificial lamb. It was just a low blow at Travis.
I don't think so. I think there'll be a lot of people who agree. F you, Travis.
So you're going to get some votes just off of what it says.
Oh, yeah. I haven't even sent you the pictures of the pumpkin yet.
You'll get votes just because people hate me.
They really do. Everybody's saying it. Everyone's like,
I concur.
Travis, you're in a perfect spot because, yes, I do think people hate you.
Yeah.
But also they need you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And if you'd rather be hated than needed, why not both? Travis is kind of straddling that fence.
I feel good about it. It feels good. I feel like I finally reached the pinnacle.
It's a beautiful pumpkin that Travis.
Poor Mama Dale is probably sitting at home right now. Travis, they hate you?
No, she's like, yeah, they're right.
She's like, I raised them. I get it.
Mama Dale's like, hey, I did an F you Travis pumpkin last year.
Man, that one rotted first. It's like it was scorned by the devil. So I do think right now the runaway favorite will be Travis Dale, but we'll see because Fletch has to carve his pumpkin yet.
Right.
He's going to go at the 8:30, right around 8:30. And I want to get back to the NFL weekend that was. We talked a lot about this in the opening segment of the show. Chargers-Raiders game. My goodness. Both Josh McDaniels and Brandon Staley are, they're frustrating coaches if you're still a fan of the Chargers or if you've always been a fan of the Raiders. You look at these two coaches and situationally, they screw things up. It feels like every single week it's a new thing that they're screwing up. And you look at this week, it's no different. Brandon Staley with that 4th down conversion decision on their own 39-yard line, I want to say, within 4 minutes of the game, they could have punted away. They could have trusted the defense. In back-to-back weeks, they've made the decision on their side of the field. Nope, we're going to go for the win. Yeah, well, you haven't now twice. So when are you going to trust your defense to get the win? Because you can still go for the win and punt the football to the other team.
Yeah, and that's just it, Rich. You said every single week it seems like you see something different here. To me, it kind of feels like every single week it's the same thing. I mean, it's the same decisions that are being made where you go, hey, that didn't work for you before. Why is it going to work for you now? Or hey, when you, I don't know, whatever, just the calls in general that these coaches are making is bizarre.
Yeah. It's It's a strange thing to watch. It's unfortunate. Yeah, go ahead.
Are either of those guys, Rich, Travis, are either of those guys head coaches next season in the NFL?
Boy, I'll tell you
does
what.
Brandon Staley belong as a defensive coordinator on a team, which he was good at with the Rams? Or does Josh McDaniels belong as an offensive coordinator with the team, which he was great at for years with the Patriots?
I feel confident Josh McDaniels is done after this season.
Like no coordinator job either after
coordinator, yes, I could see that. Not with the Raiders, but he'll leave the Raiders organization. Head coaching, he's done this twice now. Twice has not been great. Brandon Staley, I don't know. I could see Staley there again next year, which would be maddening if I was a Charger fan.
The record is the record. And Brandon Staley right now can tout a better record, obviously, than Josh McDaniels. They made a playoff berth last year, got completely humiliated in the second half of that Jacksonville Jaguars game. If Justin Herbert saves this season and tears success away from the jaws of impending failure, because Brandon Staley is a bad situational coach, well, then there's potential that Herbert could help him save his job.
So Paris actually just mentioned this on the YouTube stream. He said, what about the interception the Chargers made and laid down with plus 2 minutes to go in the game?
Oh,
we talked about that in the first half.
Yeah.
I don't think Asante Samuel was going to lay down. Brandon Staley's on the sideline shouting and screaming at him and signaling to lay down. There was 2 minutes and 38 seconds on the clock. Asante Samuel Jr. had a free lane to get a lot of yards after that. Could have been a touchdown. If a good head coach was there, he would be waving that arm like a third base coach at when someone's coming in to score. Instead, he was telling him to get down. And I'm like, dude, you're going to give the Raiders the football back.
Yeah.
He got lucky because Justin Herbert is really good at football.
It was insane. It was absolutely insane. You're leading by 7 with an opportunity to potentially go up by 14 if Samuel finishes that play in the end zone, or at very least, get yourself so you're not backed up deep in your own territory where Justin Herbert has to save the day by heaving just a gorgeous high arcing pass to Palmer.
To his credit, he did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look, again, this is what I'm talking about. Brandon Staley is a problem. The solution is Justin Herbert. The problem for Chargers fans or people who care about this team still, they're going to watch these games. You're going to be frustrated constantly about the coaching, but they're going to fall in love with Justin Herbert. So
now, Rich,
weird dichotomy.
You've been on some really good football teams like the Patriots, like Penn State, where legendary coaches, Belichick, obviously, and then you've been part of teams that weren't so great. I could think of an Arizona Cardinals team. I think I could think of one here in San Diego.
Yeah.
But when you're under a coach who you feel is not doing a good job, like there has to be players in that Chargers locker room. We've heard from Keenan Allen on it who don't think Brandon Staley's the right guy. What does that mean for players?
Well, it's disheartening because look, all relationships are built off of trust. They're built off of accountability. They're built off of you share something, right? Look, every relationship, there's a give and a take. There's no such thing as just a one-way relationship. Sometimes there are, but especially when we're talking about an environment like a locker room, or when you're talking about teammates or a coach to a player, like there has to be a lot of trust and a lot of accountability. I think Brandon Staley is accountable. At the end of the day, I think he is who he is. I think he absolutely does a good job taking full blame when things don't work out, but I don't think his players trust his decision-making.
Breaking news.
We got the statement from Peter Seidler.
I just saw that as well.
Okay, I'll just read this whole paragraph.
Yeah, go for it.
This is from Padres chairman Peter Seidler. We entered 2023 with expectations that we would build on last year's NLCS appearance and contend for a World Series championship. We fell short of that goal. The Padres organization will learn from their season and emerge in 2024 with the pieces in place to compete for San Diego's first World Series title. Our current leadership team continues to have my full support, and I have asked them to perform a thorough assessment of our organization beginning today. We will make changes necessary to play championship caliber baseball for our extraordinary fans in 2024.
Okay, so what the promise there is changes. So Peter Seidler promising changes. What does that mean when you're the owner of a baseball team? It means huge, probably impactful trades. It means jobs being lost or personnel being replaced. That's what it means to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first thing that happens. That's the first thing that has to happen before you see major changes. I mean, to me, I feel like this is the start of Bob Melvin saying that he's going to walk out. That's what this is.
Now, there's been some interesting openings in Major League Baseball from a managerial position that have come out within the last couple of days. The Giants currently no longer have a manager. That would be a pretty easy place for Bob Melvin to slide in, if you ask me, Bay Area guy. The Mets also do not have a manager currently, as Buck Showalter has made it known that he will not be returning to the team. If the Padres move on from Bob Melvin, or if Bob Melvin moves on from the Padres, most likely one of those two teams will scoop him up. And most likely it will be a success with one of those two teams, because Bob Melvin is known as one of the best managers in Major League Baseball. I know that we haven't necessarily seen that here in San Diego, and people don't believe it in San Diego, but it's true and it's a fact. And when you talk to people inside baseball, they will tell you Bob Melvin is one of the best in the planet at doing what he does. Now, it didn't work with AJ Preller, and it seems like there was a lot going on between the two of them. But if Bob Melvin goes and picks up that Giants job and then spends the next decade beating the Padres, how sick is that going to be? How sickening will that be for this Padres organization?
So check this out. This is the line to concentrate on. Our current leadership team continues to have my full support. So that means AJ Preller is going nowhere. Okay. He's the president of baseball operations. He's a part of the leadership team. Okay. The other side of this is when he says we will make changes necessary to play championship caliber baseball. What do you think AJ Preller is going to tell Peter Seidler one of the things that needs to change if he has a strained relationship with his manager?
That Bob Melvin needs to be gone.
So this statement is a direct firing across the bow to Bob Melvin. He's in, you're out. Get your resume together, start packing your stuff.
And remember when we talked to Kevin Acey last week, Rich, you asked the question and you said it very bluntly. You said, so if there's a civil war, which is what Kevin's source said was happening, does that mean people are choosing sides? And Kevin was like, yes, people are choosing sides. So I think not only does this statement, and again, this is just first reaction from it, not only does this statement mean Bob Melvin is for sure gone, but also everybody who supports Bob Melvin is gone.
Yeah.
And that's my suspicion. That is not source. That is nothing. That is what I think is going to happen. And I think it's a terrible decision.
I agree. It fixes nothing, in my opinion. Even if the next manager who gets hired by the Padres wins a World Series with the Padres, it's not Bob Melvin's fault what happened this season. It's not. In fact, I have some insight as to exactly how bad the culture was inside of that clubhouse. And a lot of what you heard from the players talking about, what are you guys talking about? We all really like each other.
Right.
It's not true. It's not true. Look, I can promise you I'm not even going to go much further into this, but I can promise you there are real problems with that culture. And it's coming from places that we all could have seen coming. And it's unfortunate. I don't think there's an easy fix. I think if there is going to be a fix, it's going to have to be, boy, I'll tell you, monumental in terms of the changes made to this roster.
Well, there's some players who are making big money with no trade clauses who probably need to leave if this is going to get fixed.
Well, the reality is it's either that or they need to find a way to work together to win. And I don't know what is the answer. At least in the short run, we've seen now one season with a quote unquote finished product roster wise go all the way to the NLCS. And we've seen one season really crash and burn with a game above 500 for a team that's talented. It's absolutely unexcusable. And scapegoating another manager is not the answer. But that's exactly what that statement says. Again, if you haven't read it this morning and you're just waking up with us now, Padres just released a statement from the desk of Peter Seidler stating that there will be changes made to play championship winning baseball, and that he has his full, or the leadership group within the Padres has his full trust. So that means AJ Preller, again, this is the way we're reading it, but it means AJ Preller's job is safe and Bob Melvin's very much is not.
Yeah, the exact quote is, our current leadership team continues to have my full support, and I've asked them to perform a thorough assessment of our organization beginning today. We will make the changes necessary to play championship caliber baseball for our extraordinary fans in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, leadership team. Full support.
AJ Preller, full support. He is excellence. Don't forget, guys.
He is excellence. Look, do I think that the Padres can win with AJ Preller as their president of baseball operations? Yeah, I do. I definitely do. But I definitely think that he needs to make changes. If what we read was true, if AJ Preller has hired personal spies to sit on meetings so that they can report back to him like evil henchmen, if he is constantly looking over his manager or his other staff member's shoulder and micromanaging every single decision they make, if he wants a Manchurian candidate at manager, this team is going to stutter and sputter and flame out just the same way they almost did last season before a playoff berth and the way they did this season. All right. The Aztecs lost on the road, unfortunately slide to a 4-game losing streak, 49-10 loss. The football team, Brady Hoke's football team, loses to the Air Force Falcons. They now go into their bye week ahead of their Hawaii game a week from today. So we'll see how that turns out. But plenty of time to fix some things as the bulk of their conference schedule is still ahead. The Marlins beat the Pirates over the weekend, officially eliminating the Padres, who finished the year 82-80. We'll get back to them in just a moment. And on the free iHeart app, they have a talkback feature next to the play icon. You have a little microphone icon. You can click and you can send us your reaction to Peter Seidler's statement. We'll read it again here in just a moment. Breaking news this morning from the Padres. Trent Williams of the Niners believes that Christian McCaffrey may be the MVP this season. He was quoted as saying post-game, "This might be the year." And the Jets lost on Sunday Night Football. But Robert Saleh said that if Zach Wilson plays like he did last night, we're going to win a lot of football games. That's what's going on. But yeah, back to the Padres. So a very interesting statement from Peter Seidler, which says, and I quote, "We entered the 2023 season with expectations that we had built on last year's NLCS appearance and contend for a World Series championship. We fell short of that goal. The Padres organization will learn from this season and emerge in 2024 with the pieces in place to compete for San Diego's first World Series title. Our current leadership team continues to have my full support, aka AJ Preller and his men. I have asked them to perform a thorough assessment of our organization beginning today. We will make changes necessary, aka firing Bob Melvin, to play championship caliber baseball for our extraordinary fans in 2024. Okay.
Do you believe, Rich, that you could bring in a different manager and this collection of players can all of a sudden work together?
Again, it could happen with Bob Melvin. I don't think he was the problem. I think that your leadership in the clubhouse stinks. I think that players who are getting paid an enormous amount of money have to set their ego aside and become better teammates and less about themselves. I think that's 1A for me. And again, that's from conversations I've had with people who know what that culture is like. I promise you. The second thing that needs to happen is AJ Preller needs to be walked back in terms of his jurisdiction. He needs to have a smaller loop that he can control.
Right.
I think he's given way too much power in this organization. And third, doesn't matter if your manager's name is Bob Melvin or Jace Tingler or Andy Green. You have to deputize your manager to have some say. You have to deputize your manager to be able to have a little sway with his players and for him to say things and for them to matter. He has, AJ Preller has, defanged every single one of his manager. Why are you afraid of a snake? Are you afraid of a snake because it's slithery? No, you're afraid of the fangs. If a snake can't bite, it's just a rope that wiggles.
It's true. That is very true. And it's a little bit heartbreaking, to be quite honest, because I don't want to repeat this season.
Yeah,
I don't. And so when I guess where my gut says the same thing that you're saying of there are problems in this clubhouse management, that's where this issue lies. And I don't think it's with Bob Melvin either. So when here's this statement from Seidler, sounds like it's going to be more of the same. We're going to do this again. This is Groundhog's Day.
It's really a tough stretch for Padres fans, right? Because if we go back to last season, at the end of the regular season, it was grim. It was stomach turning to see how much agita the Padres put us through to get into the postseason. And then they get in and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, they've figured something out here.
What was that word? Agita?
Agita.
What is that?
Look it up. It's like a heartburn.
Oh,
Ajita?
Ajita.
How do you
I don't
spell
know
that?
how you spell it.
A-G-I-T-A.
Country of origin?
I think it might be French.
Ajita?
Yeah, A-G-I-T-A. It's like heartburn. Or
A
like
general feeling of uneasiness, discomfort, or anxiety.
Big Rich coming in with the big
Wow.
words. That a
Wow.
baby.
You'll never believe this. And Fletch, you should have known this. It's an Italian word for acid.
Oh, there you go. See,
yeah.
Ajita, acid reflux. That's
I
what my
would
grandma
have
used to.
thought the resident Italian would have known this.
Whenever my grandfather, who is an Irishman, his name's John Green. Like, it doesn't get more Irish than my grandfather. He married Rose Ruggiero. I'd be like, Rosie, can I have some more meatballs? No, John, you get Ajita. That's where I learned the word from.
Well, we got it. We got it as well.
Yeah,
man.
we got it from the Padres.
Yeah, exactly.
Guess what? We figured they figured something out in the postseason. Like, wow, they've really coalesced as a team. They're playing like a unit. And then all of a sudden the season starts and it's back to square one.
Mm-hmm.
Just brutal.
Ben, I don't know if you want to throw a breaking news sounder here. We just got confirmation that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce left the game separately. Yeah, they did not leave together.
Kidding me?
They did not leave together.
Because he played like crap.
No, let me tell you why. It's because he got on the team playing guys. Yeah, that's why.
Wait, hold on. There was a report that she was flying out with the team out to New York.
I don't think that happened. She was with what's their faces before the game?
Oh, Brittany Mahomes
and Blake Lively.
Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman.
They had a big
A-list
party.
celebrity group.
Yeah, but odd though. Like, did they hang out?
I don't know why.
Now,
I mean, that does sound a little strange.
yeah.
There's like paparazzi pictures of him leaving where she was supposed to be staying and doing a little walk of shame.
Uh-oh.
Now, who knows? He could have just been walking out of his hotel room, you know?
Man, yeah. Wonder if those boots were a knocking. That's what I want to know.
Gross.
So we just need reports.
Guys, pumpkin carving is hard. My fingers are
Wait
all
a second.
crazy.
You're already carving?
Yeah.
Why?
Wait,
Figured I had time.
first of all, you got to put on your damn camera.
Oh,
you're
damn
doing it.
camera's rolling, bro.
Okay.
You did halftime, and I was like, I might as well.
Wait, how come we only got 8 minutes and you got 40?
I'm almost done, but I've been like jumping in between. So,
I am so disappointed in you.
I'll bet you total time. Look, I've been doing it for 5 minutes so far, says the timer.
You know what? You're like the Padres. All talk.
I'm almost done.
And then you give us Ajita, and then the results aren't there. You son of a... I can't believe it. All right, listen, we're going to get back to the story. If you missed the breaking news, a statement made by Peter Seidler of your San Diego Padres. We'll read it for you again on the other side. But before we ditch out of here, before I ditch out of here and hop in my 4Runner, I want to talk to you about it a little bit. Toyota, they make cars you can trust. I know this from experience. I've been a Toyota owner now for a handful of years. The 4Runner is perfect for our family. It's got enough room to stow things we need in the back. If we have friends or family coming to town, it's got the third row of seating. It's the most comfortable car I've ever driven. It's the most reliable car I've ever owned. It's the only car that Annie doesn't get car sick in for some reason. We've asked so many of the Toyota employees to tell us why. They think it has to do with the chassis. It's a real secure and sturdy platform. But that's what you can depend on when you go to your San Diego County Toyota dealers. They're going to get you in the car that's right for your family. So if you're driving around today, you're thinking about your next car, your truck, or your SUV purchase, or a next electric car, let me make it easy for you. Head to your local San Diego County Toyota dealer. They have great deals on all these reliable vehicles, and their customer service was great. I walked in and out of there. I spent maybe an hour, maybe slightly longer, taking some pictures with the 4Runner when I purchased it. It was the quickest process of my life. And if you're interested in saving gas and going green, Toyota's Beyond Zero lineup of electrified vehicles is 100% for you. I drive around in a Prius when I go up to LA. My mother-in-law likes, she thinks it's actually funny when I get into it. It's a smaller car, but I fit perfectly in it. It's really spacious once you get in. So again, get to your San Diego County Toyota dealers today. More and more cars are available. So check them out at toyota.com. Toyota, we make it easy. Again, that Peter Seidler statement, owner of the Padres, has spoken out. We'll read it for you and we'll get your reaction coming up next.
Coming up, I forgot what we're breaking down. I don't know.
My
We're carving.
pumpkin.
Yeah, your pumpkin. Also, a Monday Night Football preview coming up next. Have you been struggling to lose weight, or maybe you're already looking towards the holidays and you're thinking, oh man, I better get a jump on this thing? It's Travis. I want to talk to you about sdfatloss.com. We've been talking about it all morning here, but we love it because after only a few weeks of doing this thing, I've lost over 20 pounds. 20 pounds. I started doing this. I was at 280, the heaviest I've ever been in my life. I felt terrible. I just hit 259. Absolutely incredible. The scale, by the way, still dropping. Look, I've done the fads. I've tried to drop pounds on my own, eat healthier, lose weight, been completely frustrated because I was seeing little or frankly no results at all. And now I want to tell you the secret to losing up to a pound of fat every single day. No exercise required. You don't have to count the points. You don't have to count the calories. You don't have to have some prepackaged meal. No hormones, drugs, no injections, none of the stuff. All you got to do is eat right, eat normal. And I'm telling you, Dr. Wayne, Chloe, they have been guiding me through this thing, helping me plan these meals that you would actually want to eat. They're making it seem easy. Schedule your free consultation at sdfatloss.com by calling them 858-665-3211. That number one more time, 858-665-3211. Start your weight loss journey today. We'll do it together. Book your appointment online, sdfatloss.com. That's sdfatloss.com.
This update is presented by DraftKings. We will begin here in the NFL. Chargers took down the Raiders 24-17. Khalil Mack, 6 sacks in the game. Come on, Raiders. 49ers and Eagles both improved to 4-0 on the year with wins over the Cardinals and the Commanders, respectively. Bills beat the Dolphins. Final score 48-20. Travis's Broncos got a win. Yes, it was over the Chicago Bears, but a win is a win, right, Trav?
Let's ride.
Let's ride. Oh, my God. We have the funniest Russell Wilson sound that we got to play for you all. College football, Aztecs fall to 0-2 in the Mountain West after their trip to Colorado Springs, where the Air Force beat them 49-10. Bye week for the Techs this week before they resume play in Hawaii on Saturday, October 14th. And in baseball, Padres season over. They missed the playoffs. 82-80 is their final record. Peter Seidler released a statement this morning. We will read it coming up next. Download the DraftKings app. Use code XXX to get a free shot at millions of dollars up for grabs this week with your first deposit. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility and restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760. And man, oh man, some big things happening out of the Padres camp as they release a statement from Mr. Mustache himself, Peter Seidler.
Love that stash.
Love that stash. Love that. I haven't seen him lately, though. He's been in hiding. We're hoping he's okay. I know he had some medical issues, so we're hoping everything's good there. But he may not even have the stash anymore. Thing may be gone.
Yeah, it's possible. He had a some sort of medical procedure that has kept him away from microphones and cameras. And we do wish Peter Seidler the best of health. And he's definitely in our thoughts and prayers, especially since this is a man who's a two-time cancer survivor. Don't forget about that. Big decisions, though, need to be made with the San Diego Padres. and wait a second, Ben has finished his pumpkin.
It's good. It's good.
That is actually a really good pumpkin.
Wow, that is a great pumpkin. It's very South Park.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah, it looks I like it a lot.
Okay, so Ben has carved the pumpkin with big doe eyes, and he's used the mouth part that he carved out as a tongue.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, this is the tail of the tape. Travis has carved the largest pumpkin, by the way, that was brought in on the dais, and it's a spooky jack-o'-lantern.
Size doesn't matter.
My pumpkin says F you, Travis, because I was pissed that he's a ringer and he didn't tell us. And then Ben actually tried to go toe-to-toe with Travis. Mine's getting chucked off the roof for flamethrown. But I will say this, Ben, you've got a fighter's chance. You got a puncher's chance here.
I'm more proud of that than pretty much anything I've done in my life, boys.
So very, very nice artistic skills here, because not only did you add like pupils, or a tooth, you went ahead and took the skin off of the pumpkin to give some depth there
in multiple different areas. So you'll notice with the pupils, I did that.
That's what I'm saying.
And
the tooth
and the teeth, I did it as well.
You know, I could see that as well. And I'll say this: that's if people like a goofy pumpkin, that could be the winner.
That's it.
That goofy wasn't really what I was going for. It was more supposed to be scary.
It's not scary.
Wait, I'll take goofy.
Wait, that was the scary pumpkin?
The picture I did it off of is very scary.
That is not. But I will say this: it is awesome. It is awesome. Okay, so we're getting some reaction on the text line 70470. Start your message with team. Again, 70470. Start your message with team. How about this from one of our texters, Juan Soto, MVP type of production, boys. I dislike Juan, but damn, he played well. I agree. Juan Soto, in terms of his play, hasn't been a problem this season. The question is, how well do all these parts fit together?
So my thoughts on Juan Soto are the same as my thoughts on the Padres this year. If you look at the numbers, if you look at everything Juan Soto's compiled over the season, you'd think, damn, he had a pretty good year. But if you look at the Padres team, if you look at their numbers, their ERA, their expected win-loss percentage, you think, damn, that is a pretty good team. Well, guess what? They missed the playoffs.
Another text. AJ got to go. AJ is a hoe. AJ, not excellence, but complete bunk. Okie dokie.
The 760 texted in and said, do you think the Padres front office is listening to you guys right now? Which makes me wonder if that is the Padres front office.
AJ, you sneaky dog.
Right?
Listen to me right now. The Padres, and I know this for a fact, they have many people in their building who listen to this radio show.
Mm-hmm.
I've also been told that. So here's the reality of the situation for anybody over there listening. The fans do not care about any of this stuff if you're winning. The fans don't want statements from the owner. The fans don't want to hear about, front office changes or supporter trust in the mission statement, or really don't care about the manager as long as you're winning. The fans don't buy managerial jerseys. The fans don't buy ownership or front office jerseys. The fans buy player jerseys. So you need to figure out whatever way possible to get this collection of superstars to play like a team. Otherwise, this will be an exact replica of how AJ Preller started his tenure here, a collection of stars that amounted to very little, and then you have to blow the whole thing up and start from scratch all over again.
Yeah, it is a bummer because we were not supposed to be having this conversation right now.
No.
The start of this Padres season had such massive hopes. And quickly, I mean, the first 2 games of the season, they went 0-2, and there was already the thought of impending doom. And I mean, that's how the whole season rolled out.
Fletch, you watched every single Padres game this season. Every single game that was on, you would send us a text at some point about this team. I admittedly, down the stretch of this season, I stopped watching. I would watch probably 2 games a week. I would check box scores. I would look at highlights on Padres.com. It was stomach turning to me. I was having a hard time doing it. Now I was digesting the stats. I was certainly rooting for Blake Snell. In fact, I would always turn on his starts because I think just as a person, as a player, Blake Snell is one of those stories that I really, really love. But there was very little for me in terms of like fandom and interest down the stretch of this season because I knew that we were ultimately sliding to a skidding halt like we did. and I couldn't stomach it. But you watching all these games, what is your final assessment on what needs to be changed this offseason with this organization?
I mean, it's an old but true. You can't buy wins. You can't buy championships. You can't buy stats. Well, you can buy stats, but they don't always translate to the right thing. When you look at this Padres team stats, when you look at everything that they've done this year, if you look at the Big Four season, I know that's where a lot of the blame goes is on Manny, on Soto, on Tatis, on Bogarts. You look at their seasons, they're really not that far off their norms. Like maybe Manny Machado more so than anyone else, but everyone else had a pretty good year statistically. But stats don't mean everything. And one thing that I think is huge in sports, and it's the reason we love sports, is the culture of teams and the brotherhood of teams. Rich, you know it as a player. When you're in the locker room with somebody and you guys are winning, man, you are closest in the world with that one person. You feel like you guys are on the same brave brain waves. When you're losing, things can really come out in ugly fashion, and they all came out this year. And we've seen blowups in the dugout between Manny and Tatis last season when they were winning. Things get accentuated when things aren't going well in the box scores. And this Padres team, they are lacking something in a big way, and the only way it turns around is if a leader in that clubhouse or a leader that gets brought in over the offseason is able to unite everybody in the same direction.
Yeah, Fletch, I mean, you said a lot of things there that ring home. Rich, you said something as well with the, leaving the egos, checking the egos behind. And I think that's that's just my gut feeling of what happened here. There were so many egos in the clubhouse that, and maybe it's not even egos. Maybe it was just the feeling of, you know what, if I don't play well tonight, at least I've got other guys here who are so good, they will win anyways. When Soto came out late in the season and said, yeah, we just give up out there. That was heartbreaking as a fan to hear. And that may have been the whole truth of the whole season, that they just give up out there. And I think early on in the season, there was true thoughts of, I don't know, I'm not feeling it tonight, but I got other guys out here who are. And you start racking up so many losses that here you are.
Winning cures everything. And Travis, you said it right. I mean, like Ben, you said it right too. I mean, the reason why this was so disheartening is because they're not in the postseason. If the Padres are in the postseason, or if the Padres were making good on the promise that the 2020s were going to be about contending for the championships, nobody would have any problem with what's going on inside that building at all. Even if pieces were written about discord in the front office, the majority of fans would defend the Padres. They wouldn't blame the Padres. They'd defend them. If Kevin Acee tried to write that article that he wrote last year, he would have been, the pitchforks, torches would have been lit. He would have been chased out of town.
And as we know, Kevin could have written that article last year.
He told us on our show.
Everything would have been the same. Dennis Lynn said it on Darren's show. I could have written that article last year. I had it ready to go, but they ended up going on that run at the end of the year.
So you have two beat writers for different outlets saying the exact same thing. You have national writers who are sourcing stories from within the Padres organization and outside, former coaches, former people. Some have an axe to grind. Some are just offering their honest opinion. You don't know. You have to sort of obviously divide and, decide for yourselves which sources you're going to trust, or frankly, from a national writer's perspective, which sources they're going to trust. But it all comes down to this. There are serious problems. They've been there for years now. Years. Okay. And it didn't start with Bob Melvin. I can promise you that. So something's got to change. But in that statement released by Peter Seidler, it says that this leadership group has his full support and that changes will be made to this team this offseason to play championship level baseball in 2024.
Yeah.
And what that means is the Padres are right now probably on the phone with Bob Melvin firing him.
Correct. Or they're in that room together. That meeting's already over, and that's why Peter Seidler released the statement. So maybe decisions have already been made. We will probably know later on today once Kevin or Dennis or somebody gets in that clubhouse and is able to ask questions. I'm so curious what Preller and Seidler have to say the first time they're made available to the press.
Yeah, and I would be shocked if Bob Melvin has his job beyond this week. I would be shocked
beyond this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. They may wait a day before they release that information, but full support of his leadership team sure sounds like the front office stays the same.
Well, listen, somebody has to hold AJ Preller's feet to the fire. Hopefully that man is Peter Seidler, and hopefully that day come soon. Speaking of feet, want to talk to you about the Good Feet store. At the Good Feet store, they have these arch supports. You go in and you work with their professionals. You're going to be in there for 20 minutes tops. They sit you down, they measure your feet, they balance test you, they form fit the arch support to your lifestyle, to your footwear, to your personal needs. You walk out of there and you kind of feel different. I don't know how else to describe it. Your posture improves. You're definitely walking slightly differently than you're used to. It takes like a day to get used to, but after that, you start waking up every morning. And at least for me, my experience was less joint pain in my knees, in my back, in my hips, my ankles. And if you have foot problems, I mean, it's the foundation of the rest of your body. So the Good Feet store is for you. They have over 200 plus locations overseas and here in the United States. They have 30 plus years of experience. Get to goodfeet.com to book your appointment today and for more information. All right, coming up next, we got to do a Monday Night Football preview. We'll also chat a little bit more about these Padres and this statement by Peter Seidler. And we have some texts that we absolutely have to read. We have some funny listeners. We'll get to all those on the other side.
Coming up, we do our final weigh-in for our pumpkin carving contest, and we continue our talk with Padres. What is happening with that front office? Coming up next.
Download the free iHeartRadio app if you haven't. Listen to our show wherever you're going. And I mean wherever you're going to the gym, running some errands, heading to the grocery store. I listen to podcasts all the time when I'm grocery shopping. It makes it so much more an enjoyable experience. But whatever you're doing, download the free iHeartRadio app. Listen to Big Rich, TD and Fletch, San Diego Sports 760, either live or podcast us. That's the other thing. A lot of people realize it's a live show, but we also have our podcast downloaded immediately within an hour after our show, usually sooner than that. So you can listen to every single hour of every single day of our shows. We just got a text message, a group of us. A huge shout out to Dr. Wayne with SDFatLoss.com.
Yeah.
Dr. Wayne is our homie. Dr. Wayne is a cool guy, but most importantly, Dr. Wayne's doing life-saving work. We've been talking about this new diet that we have all embarked on over the past couple of weeks. We haven't been able to tip our hand as to exactly what we're up to, but now we can. And we've collectively lost a tremendous amount of weight with
we say
SD
77 pounds between the three of us.
Yeah, I'm at 31 as of this morning. Travis is at 21.
24.
Dude, yeah, we've lost 76 pounds.
It's a lot of weight here.
Dr. Wayne and Chloe.
Pounds.
Yeah.
Dr. Wayne and Chloe are the reason why.
Yeah.
At SDFatLoss.com.
And we were talking about during the break of having the accountability where they do just send you a text, they send you a message, checking in on you. Hey, what's going on with this? I mean, that is a huge help.
Well, just putting the numbers in perspective, because when we were doing Next Level Fit Guy stuff on our own and we were trying to lose weight, which was after the Mexico trip, we lost collectively 30 pounds in about 3 months.
Yeah. And then I may have gained back a few of those.
Okay. And then with SD Fat Loss, it's been 3 weeks and we've lost how much?
Yeah, I mean,
oh my gosh,
76 in 3 weeks as a show.
So I don't know if you're struggling, if you're like we were, where you looked down at the scale and you didn't like what you saw, and you did a little too many Next Level Fat Guy stuff Tuesdays. Go ahead and get in touch. Check them out at SDFatLoss.com.
Well, also, man, yeah, I mean, it's help your heart out, shed some of those pounds,
dude. I actually. This is a weird admission, and it's going to sound like a humble brag, like an unnecessary flex, but I actually texted them, hey guys, is it okay that I'm losing this much weight this fast? I honestly sent that text yesterday, and on the app, so they give you an app, and they were like, no, it's fine, you fatso, just keep going.
It's because you're so incredibly fat to start with. This is expected.
They're like, yeah, no, but because what they have a plan. Look, you lose the weight during this reduction phase, and then on the other side, they get your calorie count a little bit higher, and it's going to flatten out and maintain your weight. So look, you gotta contact these people. They've been life changers for us, and we're truly excited.
And if you do contact them, let them know we sent you. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch.
Yeah.
SDFatLoss.com.
Okay, so back to the Padres. We'll finish with this statement again. If you haven't heard it, Peter Seidler from the official Padres Twitter account just put out this statement. We entered 2023 with expectations we would build on last year's NLCS appearance and contend for World Series championship. We fell short of that goal. Padres organization will learn from the season and emerge in 2024 with the pieces in place to compete for San Diego's first World Series title. Our current leadership team continues to have my full support, and I have asked them to perform a thorough assessment of our organization beginning today. We will make changes necessary to play championship caliber baseball for our extraordinary fans in 2024.
So what if the changes that need to be made are within that leadership group? That's what worries me.
That's not going to happen because the leadership group has been deputized to fix this.
Yeah.
So
and the leadership group, if they're going to judge the leadership group, is anybody going, you know what, everybody, I was looking at the numbers, I should probably be fired. I mean,
you're not going to vote yourself out in Survivor.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this is just, I don't know what's going to change here. And we do know that Eric Grupner has said that payroll needs to come down next season.
You know what's going to change.
I know exactly what's going to change, but I don't know what's going to change that's going to actually benefit the team.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Bob Melvin leaving hurts the team.
I think there's a brain drain when they fire Bob Melvin. I do think it's a when and not an if. Because again, your leadership group, it includes AJ Preller. And we trust Kevin Acee. He's our Padres insider here on San Diego Sports 760. He's on with all the shows you hear here on this station. He joined us most Wednesdays, some Thursdays when we needed to accommodate him.
We're gonna go get a steak dinner with him at some point.
Was definitely us.
Yeah,
that asked for that.
That was never his fault. It was always our fault, and we told him that. And it's not because we're hand shy that we're saying that. Here's the deal: the Padres are going to fire Bob Melvin, and like you said, Ben, the problem isn't what changes will be made; it's what is going to be the result of those changes. You know, if you make a change and it's superfluous, if it's just, you know, just cause it's just to, I don't know, have some sort of bloodletting so that some fans are going to be like, good, problem solved. I mean, that's it.
It's the wrong mentality.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we've evolved past that. And it sucks that this is where we are. It sucks that the Padres are not going to be playing baseball in October, because we remember how much fun last year was.
Yeah.
For thank yous today, we didn't actually have any guests, but I do want to give a shout out to Gus on YouTube, who says, guys, can I get a birthday shout out? Also,
happy birthday, Gus!
Gus also says, all I want for my birthday is to hear that AJ Preller gets fired later today. I don't know if you're going to get that one. And let's thank our new friends one more time, the Weight Loss Center of San Diego, sdfatloss.com.
Yeah, thank you. You're saving our lives.
Yeah, for sure. I was a big fatso. Now I'm less of a fatso.
That's correct. Yeah.
A fatty boom body, as I like to say.
And we're still losing.
Yeah.
Right.
We're still on the way down. All right. The Herd is next. We'll see you tomorrow, kids.